Hi, sorry, I am like a minute late. What is happening? Whatever. That's gonna drive me crazy, actually. I gotta fix it. Fuck. Okay, so I've got a few more pictures to get into a state that I can edit them at. And then I'm gonna start the editing. I'm not gonna be able to show you guys any of it, obviously, because it's much too lewd for YouTube, but close enough. But yeah, that's what we're fucking doing. Oh my god. I might put on Reddit stories or something, because I am. Might also have to go grab water. It's been a long day, y'all. So I'm just, yeah. So don't mind me if I'm looking at my phone for most of the stream. That's what I'm gonna use to edit because I'm being lazy. Normally I'd edit on my iPad, but right now I don't want to have to upload things back and forth because I don't want to. It's gonna take way too much time. So we're doing it this way instead, and I'm gonna just use my phone and hope for the fucking best. But I think the photo set turned out really good, so I think you guys will like it either way. If I can get it to, fuck you phone, can you just work for me, bitch? Work. Dude, it just keeps like, every time I find the right frame. So I took the photos using my camera. I just recorded a video. The video ended up being 30 fucking minutes and 13 gigabytes. So I had to split it up into 15 smaller videos so I could get it to download onto my phone, because it's hard to screenshot shit on a Windows computer because you have to like paste every screenshot. It's a whole thing. Anyway, so yeah, easier to screenshot on my phone, and so I'm just doing it this way, but I have to crop every photo, which is just so fun. So yeah, we're having a great time. It's really just so fun. But yes, that's what I'm doing on my phone, is I'm editing it. But as soon as I'm done here, I have to screenshot one. I think this is the last video I have to screenshot. I'm hoping and praying it's the last video I have to screenshot. And if it is, then we'll find out how many photos I ended up with in a sec here. And I'm hoping it's not over 200, because that's gonna take me just so long. But I have a bad feeling it is. Actually, that's a bad photo. No, don't save that one. I'm trying to be selective with which screenshots I'm taking, because a lot of times I just go overboard, and I'm trying to not do that because I'm gonna end up with like fucking over 1,000 photos and I'm gonna wanna die. And I'm gonna cry. Can we fucking dude. There we go. Fuck. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. But I'm gonna try really hard to keep my phone up high enough that okay, shit, that was the last one. Yes, all right. We got there. Just gonna save all the photos. How many did we get? Oh god, we're almost at 200, and we're over 200. Oh god, we're almost at 300. Fuck. Okay, 312. We're at 312. I have 312 photos to edit. I can do this. I can do this. Stop calling me, people. Gosh. It's okay. It's okay. I can do this. It's like, I would say that's like a middle range photo set. I was trying to aim for under 200. I didn't quite make that. But a big photo set would definitely be like 800 photos to 1,000 plus photos. So glad I'm not doing that. Very glad. What's it like to live in the United States? Well, I wouldn't really know because I don't know what it's like to not live in it. So I don't know if I'd be great at explaining it to someone who doesn't live here, because I wouldn't really know what things are different, you know? Fuck. All right, we're gonna do this. We got this. We got this. I got this. We got this. I'm gonna put a Reddit story on though, because this is, I need something to get me through this bitch. Holy shit. Okay, let me find one. Mr. Reddit. People keep calling me. Fuck. Okay. Mr. Reddit or whatever. What? Mr. Redder. I can't get over it, bro. I can't get over it. Okay, I'm gonna just play his videos from.
Hey there,
most recently posted back. So let me just grab that, and then here, hopefully I can, yes, okay, paused before I had to hear my stupid voice. Okay, here you go. That's what we're watching.
Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode.
Thanks for keeping us entertained, Mr. Redder.
Our first story we'll be reading today. Want me to come to class and present despite being ill?
Let me turn the music off.
Okay. After that, am I the jerk for telling my fiance he doesn't get to name
okay.
And after that, I canceled all my in-laws' invitations to our Christmas celebration. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen gets sent to an island. I'm an island Karen, get me the manager. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day.
Sorry, my boyfriend is picking up my meds for me, so I'm texting him.
Okay.
But anyway,
this was before 2020, back in my early university.
Well, we're gonna watch some Mr. Redder, and I
Wednesday morning when I woke
am
up
going to
like complete and utter
edit
crap.
some photos.
This was a problem,
photo set.
as today I was scheduled to do my oral presentation along with
I
other
would
students in
whistle
one of my
Christmas
classes.
carols, but I think if I'm
I
trying to do
figured
too
no
many
way
things at
would I
once,
be
I'm gonna
wanting to
fuck
come
up,
in sick.
and I don't really want to do that.
And by
so.
sick, when I looked in that mirror, I was so pale, I looked dead. My nose looked like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. My eyes were so sunken in that they were in the back of my head, and I was sweating like heck from a high fever. Oh, and my throat felt like it was made of sandpaper. Yeah, no way was I going into the lecture hall looking like this. So I went through the normal procedures, submitting a temporary absent form, which meant for the absent to be valid, I needed to go to a walk-in clinic, Joy, and call any professors or teachers' assistants to inform them of my absence. We have a lot of interactive stuff in lectures. That's also common courtesy. along with an email for a paper trail.
Okay.
My afternoon physics professor understood. My evening teaching assistant for earth sciences was cool with it. My morning chemistry professor? Either you stop lying and come in, or it's an automatic 0. I'm sorry? I've never missed one of your classes, even with a minor
Do you
cold.
have to listen
But
to all the
this?
nonsense stuff
Okay,
and crap?
fine
Well,
then.
you've decided
So I
to
get up
be
and my
here,
mom drives me
so
in, as I didn't have my
like,
license yet.
no.
Long story, and she wasn't working that day. She's self-employed. She's worried about me, but I reassured her
But I'm
that I would
gonna
only
be busy
about
working
20
on
minutes
this, so I'm
max.
not gonna be able to
I get
fully
to the
entertain
campus and walk
chat
in,
by myself.
heading to my lecture hall, and of
Okay.
course, looking like utter crap. Stumbling
And you're
because I'm
gonna
also
have to
running a
deal
really
with
high
it.
fever. I get a lot of weird looks, and some students even stopped me to ask if I was okay. I recall responding with something like, I won't be if I'm late for class. When I do get to my lecture hall, I enter 2 minutes late. Professor sees me and goes, OP, about time. Get down here and start your presentation, or it's a fail.
Okay.
Alrighty. I went up, plugged in my laptop to the projector, and released an almighty round of wet coughing. Now, my lecture mates are whispering to each other, and Professor looks at me startled. But all I remember doing is looking right at the professor, smiling, and saying very hoarsely, Sorry, I'll get started. She quickly tried to send me on my way, but I say, into the microphone, my voice sounding like a sick bear's, No, you said if I don't present, it's a 0. I can't fail 20% of my grade. So off I go, presenting with a hoarse voice, long, hacking, wet coughs, and with occasional almost throwing up. When I finished, I then turned to the professor and asked, again into the mic, Do you need me to stick around for the other presentations, or can I go? I was on my way to the doctor's within 5 minutes, and wouldn't you know, I had a serious case of the flu. Something that the university did not want you to bring to campus because it could spread like wildfire.
Shocker.
Needless to say, when I filed my full absence form with my doctor's note, I mentioned how my chemistry professor insisted upon me coming to class. I also included a screenshot of the email she sent me while I was being driven in, which stated the same thing she told me over the phone. When I was finally able to return to campus a week later, I was surprised to enter a class to see a substitute professor. I later looked at my email and saw a class notification that our original professor was placed on leave. She was let go by the end of the term. Reply. Likely, this was not her first time doing this type of thing to a student. This is why reporting and always giving a paper trail of bad professors is important. It may not happen after you report, but one never knows what their file looks like. Am I the jerk for telling my fiance he doesn't get to name both of our babies? I'm pregnant with twins, and my fiance and I just found out we're having a boy and a girl.
Please
We started talking
relink
about names the
the
other
link
day.
I shared,
He told me
mods,
that he
since
really wanted to name the
people
boy baby after himself.
decided
first
to
and
ignore it
middle.
when I posted it.
I wasn't
and
on
they're
board
now
at
asking
first,
what we're
but
listening
after
to.
thinking about it, I agreed. I told him that for the girl baby, I wanted her first name to be my sister's, since we're very close, and the middle to be my dad's, since he passed when I was young. My dad's name isn't really neutral, but it's becoming a common girl's name. My fiance got visibly sad and told me he wanted to name the girl baby after his mom and have the middle name be his dad's name. His dad's name is a neutral name. I told him that I didn't really think that it was fair that he got to name the first baby what he wanted, and now he gets to name the second baby also what he wants.
Why don't
I
you
also
both
said it wasn't fair
compromise on
that my
both
family
names?
gets excluded. He said he
Seems
really
like
wanted to
a
incorporate
weird
at least his
thing
mom's name. I told him that the
do,
girl
but
baby's
okay.
middle name can be his mom's, but then the boy's middle name is going to be my dad's. He said he wanted the baby boy named completely after him, so the baby is a junior. I told him he doesn't get to name both of the babies what he wants. He got upset about this comment
Y'all are
and has
gonna
been
have a
standoffish
hard-ass
towards me.
marriage if you
I
were
don't think
having
that was
this
so
much
awful of me
issue
to
over
say, but now I'm second-guessing my comment and
naming
wondering
the
if I'm the jerk
baby.
for it.
Oh my
Edit.
gosh.
I feel the need to clear something up because I'm seeing it a lot. Quite a lot of people keep telling me to give the kids original names and not name them after someone else. In my family, it's very normal to recycle names and name new babies
That's
after family members.
irrelevant.
It's
and
actually
not the problem,
considered abnormal
to be
if you
completely
give your
honest.
baby an original name. I know this isn't the norm, and it's weird for others, but like I said, it's
That's
normal
not
for
the
us,
thing
and
I
our
have an
family
issue with
actually
at
loves
all.
having recycled names. A few of us love that we have the same names. We don't find it weird, and we enjoy it. Every family is different, and our families enjoy sharing names. It's fine if you don't agree, but that's just how our family is.
Bruh.
Not the jerk. Also, it's a nightmare paper-wise when a kid has the exact same name as their father. My family did this with my brother, and it causes so many problems.
Okay, let me grab. I need to grab a drink really quick.
Also, my brother started to resent his name due to him wanting to be his own unique
I have
person
tights on.
and not a copy
Don't
of
get
that.
mad at me, YouTube.
I highly recommend not going the junior route. Not the jerk. I presume he thinks they are both getting his last name too. Why shouldn't one get your last name? And he got visibly sad when he didn't get his way. It's time for you to start getting visibly sad that he can't respect your feelings. Here's a fair solution. You each choose 2 names. First name choice for one gender results in middle choice for the other. He picks Anne and Brad. You pick Claire and David. You end up with Anne Claire and David Brad. Or you end up with Claire Anne and Brad David. Not the jerk, but you should both be naming them both. Naming kids should be 2 yeses or 1 no, and both parents need to be willing to accept it might not be their first choice. Which means he can say he wants a junior. You can say, yes, I like that, or no, I don't like that. But if you agree on it, then that is both of you picking it. I think that having the boy named after him and the girl named exclusively after your family might lead to some favoritism hang-ups.
It just seems like such a weird situation. You should be both agreeing on the name regardless.
That boy's selfish though, bruh. He need to let her name one though, baby. I canceled all my in-laws' invitations to our Christmas celebration. So to give some context, I, female 32, have been married to my husband, male 39, for 4 years. I work a full-time job, while he does a 3 times a week night shift. We have a 2-year-old, and I'm 6 months pregnant. The whole drama started days ago. My husband has a large family, and on every Christmas, they'd gather at his father's house. My father-in-law passed away a year ago, and this year, my husband decided, as the man of the family, to host Christmas at our house. Unbeknownst to me, he sent out invitations for a 5-day Christmas celebration to his entire family, which there are about 26 members in total. I found out about by accident, and I was too shocked to react. I confronted him on it, and he said I shouldn't be surprised and just get used to it, because after his father's passing, he's now the family's head, and all major family events will be held in our house and in his presence. I freaked out and said, no, this is wrong, and he should have talked to me first before sending out any invitations to his family, knowing I have other commitments like work and taking care of the house and our son. He said we'll manage if I took time off work, but that means more workload later, and it would take away from my maternity leave. I demanded he cancel the invitations, but he refused, saying, over my dead body.
I'd be like, oh, we'll have fun dealing with the fucking police when you have people show up here that were not invited by me.
Explaining that we will not be hosting Christmas this year. He found out and went off on me, calling my behavior outrageously appalling, and said that I broke his word to his family and made him look small and with no authority. I, in a very strict tone, replied that I didn't sign up to host a celebration and accommodate 26 people while pregnant, taking care of a toddler, and working. And I don't care if he becomes the head of the family after his father's passing, because it means nothing to me. He took offense to that and walked out, almost crying.
I would lose
He later talked about how I disrespected his father and him with what I had said, and demanded a handwritten apology for canceling the event and for being insensitive towards him and undermining his authority in front of his family. But I said no apology from me in any form, and the issue is still up, especially with my mother-in-law giving me a stern talk about how out of line I was for disrespecting his decisions regarding the holiday celebration with family. ETA. To put this out there, he planned on sitting and telling stories of his dad while I handled everything, and his family believed that as guests, it's rude to ask them for help. Unless your husband was planning on doing all the cooking, hosting, entertaining, and taking care of the kids, not the jerk. I would seriously probably leave my husband if he spoke to me like this or acted this way.
Simply just
you're the one doing
that
everything.
same night.
If anything,
actually,
you're
I'd
the
kick
man of the
him
family
out.
now.
Because
You
fuck
work,
that.
take care of the kids, run the house. You're the one who has the authority, not him. And he comes from a family who thinks the same stupid stuff. I also probably would have carried on as life as usual and let him deal with the fallout of having to cook and entertain, as he gave you no notice and you have a job and a life. I'd show up home every day like a guest. Seriously, this man and his family are raising your kids with the same mentality. Consider whether you want your kids to be like them. If you want to continue to endure this wild behavior, you can walk away and leave him to it. Not the jerk. First of all, absolutely not to a written apology. Is that a joke? He
Yeah,
invited
what?
everyone without consulting you, and you uninvited them without consulting him. You did the same as him, and now he has the audacity to be upset at
Exactly.
you?
Fuck
I'd
this
be asking him
guy.
for a written apology.
This is
Was
so
he going to
dumb.
host everything,
I don't
including
even
cleaning
get
the
how this is
house,
a
buying
question.
and
What do you
preparing food
mean?
for
Am I
everyone?
the asshole? What do
I'm
you
assuming he was
mean?
expecting you to chip in.
I
He should have
swear to
asked you
God.
first and asked if you could take the time off. When was he going to tell
And she's
you?
pregnant.
When the family started turning up? You can't just not work for 5 days without giving notice. He didn't think about you at all in this situation. And being very pregnant, you might not be up for hosting 26 people for 5 days.
Might not be. Pretty
He's
much
the
no
jerk
one
and
who's
should be
pregnant would be up
apologizing.
for that shit.
He's completely in the wrong here and needs to work on his communication skills ASAP. I'd be so upset if I were you. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her husband? Please let us know.
Hell no.
Hopefully he'll be an ex-husband soon.
Seriously, Karen? Like, what the fuck
Am
is
I the
this
jerk
shit?
for telling my neighbor's kids they could not sled on my hill? The house I recently moved into has a hill on the edge of the yard. I've talked to my neighbors a few times, and they seemed like nice people.
Okay, so
a couple days ago, we got our first real snowfall
Dude, I want
of
to
the
go
winter.
sledding.
My neighbors reached out to me and asked if I minded if their kids went sledding on the hill.
Oh,
They
you
said
want
that
to
the
go see
previous
Daddy?
owner
Okay,
of
you
the
can go see
house had
Daddy.
let them use it, but they wanted to check with me. I hardly use that part of the yard and have no need for it when it's covered with more than a foot of snow, so I said sure. However, today they reached out again. They explained that they would like me to bring my dog inside while their kids are sledding because it makes them nervous. I told them that she was always tied up when she was outside and no danger to them, but they were welcome to keep their kids inside if they saw her out, and that if their kids were sledding, I would stay out with her. They said that since the bottom of the hill was on their land, I couldn't restrict their access to it, and that I was endangering them by letting my dog be outside unsupervised with them. I repeated what I said and added that if they wanted to meet my dog, they could come over to meet her sometime. They just got more upset I wouldn't bring her inside and ended up threatening to call animal control on me for having an out-of-control dog. For reference, she's a maybe 40-pound older mixed breed who could probably not forge her way through the snow to where the kids are sledding even if she wanted to. She just loves sitting out in the snow. I was very upset at this point and told them they could forget about their kids sledding on the hill, and if they were going to make unreasonable demands, they could not come on my property. They tried backtracking, but ended up getting upset at me again. Now I'm wondering if I'm being the jerk, because I could just agree to their requests and bring her inside. Am I the jerk?
No.
Edit. Since I keep getting asked this, my dog asks to go outside and is let in when she wants to come in, and I make sure she is safe while out there. Not the jerk. Honestly, you shouldn't let them anyway. If they got hurt sledding on your land, you would be liable. They could make your homeowner's insurance pay for medical bills. Not the jerk. They don't have a right to tell you what to do with your own pet on your property, as long as there's no danger to the dog, blah blah, and other caveats. You even tried to compromise by letting them meet and connect with your elderly dog, who wouldn't even be anywhere near the kids. You have no obligation to support their lifestyle wants for their kids on your property, but on their terms. Also, even threatening to report your dog equals instant enemy zone in my eyes.
Yep.
They're basically threatening to remove a part of your family if you don't do what they want you to. That's trash. Not the jerk. You're doing them a kindness and they crapped all over it. You can't prevent them from accessing the bottom of the hill that is on their property.
Never do shit for
But you
neighbors.
can sure
Just
as
don't
heck
talk
stop
to
them
neighbors.
from
Just
starting their
ignore
sledding
them.
from the top.
Act like they don't
Assuming
exist,
you want
and
to
they
live
can
there for
never
a while,
expect things
the
from
best
you.
thing you could do is put a fence on your property line. No more sledding, no more danger that they will injure themselves and sue you. No worry that your properly secured, older, just hanging out in the snow dog will endanger them by being wild and out of control. Am I the jerk?
Just so dumb.
I hate the Christmas gifts I get from my partner, even though I asked for them.
He's on a fucking
I,
thing.
30 female, am currently in a fight about this with my partner, 35 male. We've been together for about 4 years now, and a version of this conversation seems to happen a couple times a year. It always goes like this. Him. What do you want for Christmas? Me. Give specific answer. Him. Cool. Send me a link. I send the link. Him. You know, I have an old one of these I could fix up for you instead. Me. Well, I really like this one because of the color, shape, size.
I was like,
it matches
how
my
could this
stuff.
go wrong?
I have already done the research, etc. And I was thinking
What if
of getting
neighbors
it for myself
offer
anyway.
help and or
You don't
food?
really have to.
That shit could be poisoned. I'm
But
good.
I could just give you this one that's just sitting here unused. I should mention that we both have well-paying jobs and are
I
child-free.
could just give you this
We
used
split
one
bills
instead
and
of
a
giving you the
mortgage
thing
and
you
have
want.
savings.
What's
We're
the
not
problem?
rich, but
Like,
money
okay.
has not been an issue. We are fortunate. We can do nice things like eat takeout or go on a small vacation every once in a while, and we communicate well. He admits he needs guidance thinking of gift ideas for people.
What?
I usually
You're
give
literally
in
giving
because I
him
don't
the
want to seem
thing.
wasteful or spoiled. I don't need any gifts from him at all,
I'm so
but he always
confused.
insists for birthdays and
Just-
Christmas, so I try to be honest and name something I would actually use that's not too expensive, so it's easy for him. But he always gets me a hand-me-down, thrifted, imitation brand, or jerry-rigged version. One year, I pointed out a $75 used bike in a shop. He gave me his old bike. He's 6'5", I'm 5'4". Last year, I asked for a hot stone massage at a spa.
Dude.
He gave me some massage oil and a coupon free massage from him. How can I say no to that without sounding ungrateful? It was
Oh my
lovely,
God.
but it was not a real massage. So now, just this evening, he asked me again.
Holy shit.
Me. Well, I've been browsing for a new tent for camping this summer.
You're so
A
annoying.
dome one, so we don't have to stoop inside as much when we... him.
Like, it's one
Oh,
thing if
cool.
you aren't
My dad
telling
has a
him
tent
what
he
you
doesn't
want
use
and he's
anymore.
giving you these things.
Me.
That'd be
Is
cute.
it a dome tent?
You're literally
Laughing.
telling him
No,
what
it's
you
his
want.
old
He's
army
like,
tent.
okay, cool, I'll get you
Me,
the knockoff
exploding.
version.
Why even ask me what I want if it doesn't matter what I actually want? Sometimes I just
can't,
want
like,
what I
stop
want.
asking.
Him. Whoa, you should hear yourself. I want. Backs away with his hands up. I'm sitting in our room alone, feeling like a selfish jerk, while he calls all of his duties downstairs. He plays that when he's upset. Not the jerk. You have every right to be upset. It seems he doesn't care about getting you what you want, and he just cares about saving money. This is somewhat petty, but if you want him to understand what you mean, switch out his Call of Duty game for a lower quality game, or just a different one. And when he complains, tell him that it's the same thing. It's a video game.
Oh my god,
What's
that'd
the
be so
difference?
funny.
This is a more aggressive approach, but I think it would get it through
No,
his
that's
head.
hilarious. Like, literally
Not
just
the
take
jerk.
the game out
He
and
listens,
put the other
but
one
not
in.
fully or completely,
Like, it's
which would
completely
drive any
harmless,
woman
but it's gonna
utterly
be like,
insane.
wait, what the fuck?
Try one more time.
I
Try
feel
to
like a
clearly
bootleg
explain the
Call of
problem.
Duty. That'd be so.
Use this as a specific example. I said a dome. You said your dad has an old tent, but it's not a dome tent. So your dad's tent is a no, because it's not a dome tent, which is what I'm asking for. If he refuses to see the difference, your bike example is ludicrous. Did he even ask, hey, why don't you ride the bike I gave you? Seriously. I would refuse to give him any more gift ideas because it is obviously pointless and
I would stop
frustrating
giving
for you.
him gift ideas.
Let him figure out what to get.
I'd be
instead of you
like,
giving
right,
specifics,
so you
and
want
he
me to
takes
tell
them as
you what I
jumping off
want,
points.
and then you're gonna
God
just
bless
not
you.
get it for
The
me?
bike
Get
would
me a
have been my
shitty
breaking
thing that
point.
you wanted to give me anyway
Not
that you
the
just
jerk.
happen to have?
You don't want to seem ungrateful,
If
but
that's the case,
someone
I'm not
wants to
gonna
give
tell
you
you
hand-me-downs,
shit. You gotta figure
normally
it
in
the
my
fuck out
family,
yourself
we
and
do it
just fall on your
because,
face on your
not
own.
on special
Because, like,
occasions.
that's...
We normally get each other nice gifts on birthdays, Christmas,
can't.
etc. I wouldn't feel like a jerk if I were you. It would get old for me as well. 4 years is a long time to not get at least one nice, new, meaningful gift. If you could try talking to him without getting mad, say it's always bothered you, and maybe it was how he was raised, but you would like to start getting each other nice, new gifts. If he doesn't, you said you're good financially, so go and buy what you want. Get that dome tent you want, the massage you want, and if he really cares, he'll start realizing that he should hopefully try to get you more meaningful gifts that you'd enjoy. That's just my take on it. I hope everything goes okay, and I hope you get
Sucks
what
to
you would
get
like
your own
this year.
fucking gift.
Am I the jerk for demanding that my mother display photos of my wife in her house? I got married 2 years ago to the love of my life. I feel like my mom doesn't really like her, but the relationship is mostly okay. Honestly, I have a feeling since I got married, I've been left out of a lot of stuff. But the only one I can prove is my mom's birthday trip. To be clear, no one is straight up rude, but it is clear my mom and wife don't vibe, and the rest of the family seems meh about her, which does make me sad. My mom has a wall with a lot of pictures
Not
on it.
everybody gets along.
There are plenty of pictures of my sister's partner, and there are pictures of extended family, but not a single one of my wife. My mom has pictures of her, because some of these were taken at events we were at, but she just chooses the ones without my wife. Honestly, this is not something I would have picked up on, but my wife did, and it bothered her. My wife's family is huge on family, and while I don't think my mother-in-law loves me, she definitely includes me in everything. I brought it up to my mom, and she said she hadn't noticed. I said I didn't really believe her, and she shrugged and said my wife isn't her daughter. I pointed out that my sister's partner isn't her son, or my aunt's husband isn't her brother, but she has pictures of them. My mom said it was her house, and the whole conversation is dumb. I said
I
she
mean-
can't exclude the love of my life, and my mom said this is a really pathetic thing to care about, and we're being weird. My wife was upset and feels like it was a clear statement. So I
I
told
think
my
it is
mom
a clear
she could either
statement, but
put up
also
some
I
pictures
wouldn't
of
bring
my
it up.
wife,
I would just be like,
or we
okay,
wouldn't
God,
be
she doesn't
coming
like
over.
me, so I'm just gonna
My
never
mom said,
bring that
okay,
up.
don't come over. That was probably 4 or 5 months
And
ago.
instead of just being
I
like,
checked
why do you
up
have
about
pictures of my
Christmas
wife? I'd
and
just
asked
be
if
like,
she had
do
put
you
up even
not
one
like
picture.
her?
My
Or
mom
something?
said
Like,
no,
what's the
she
deal?
wasn't going to. We can't make her, and just don't come to Christmas and see if she cares. Well, we won't be going to Christmas, but my sister is super upset at me and thinks I'm an entitled jerk, and I heard my
I
stepdad was
definitely
making
wouldn't
fun
go to
of us.
Christmas.
I don't feel too bad, because everything I've read online talks about how you have to be a united front.
I mean,
Not the
definitely
jerk.
good you're sticking
You
up
were
for your
doing
wife.
everything right. Time to show them how much better your life is without them.
But like,
I know with current
it's kind of a
events,
lost
travel can be
cause.
tricky, but you should try to do something special for Christmas
not-
and take lots of photos. Also, never take or post another photo of yourself without your wife ever again. If you really want to get petty, if you know there's something your mom wants, but your stepdad hasn't delivered, for example, a piece of jewelry she wants, buy one for your wife and
Bro.
make sure your mom finds out indirectly. And
Commenter,
take and post
you're
photos.
psychotic.
Edit. For those having a problem with my petty suggestion, the part about other significant others being included and not OP's wife really ticked me off. If all significant others were left out, I'd just say let it go. But if OP's
I don't
wife
know.
is going to be singled
I
out,
kind of
I
feel
say
like the mom's
unleash
like
the petty
entitled to
kraken
just not like
and
her.
give it a camera.
Like, it
Not the
sucks
jerk.
for
I
sure.
experienced something very similar.
But
My stepdad, who married my mom and was my only father
Like-
figure, adopted me when I was 4.
for sure
His
sucks,
grandmother
though.
had pictures proudly displayed in her house, all over, of every possible family member and friend, especially the little ones. She had pictures of my stepdad, mom, and my half-sister. They had after they got married, but never any of me. No one ever said anything until one day I was looking for something I was told to get in their house and found all of the pics my mom had given her over the years at the bottom of a drawer, crumpled and damaged under a lot of stuff. When I asked her what was up, I was in high school at this point, she just said, "You aren't family. You're just his wife's kid." No one defended me, said anything, or even remotely tried to
I mean,
confront
that's
her
like
when I told
way
them.
different because you're
So
a
yeah,
child,
you
but
did the right thing. I was only a kid, and your wife is an adult, but the hurt feels the same. Everyone
it's
sucks.
slightly
here.
different
Your
actually.
mom
But
sucks
yeah,
because
okay.
I believe in your gut feelings. If she has something to say about your wife, she should just tell you. But you kind of suck
with
too,
that.
because even if you stood up for your spouse, you made it about telling her how she should be decorating her own house.
Yeah,
And she's right to stand her ground on this point. My advice would be to call her again, not
That's what
about
I'm
decorating,
saying.
but about the true issue, why she seems to exclude
Exactly.
your wife. You're the jerk. Are you paying her mortgage? How about electricity and water? If not, why should you get to dictate whose picture she puts up? If I don't like
It just
someone,
seems like an
I'm not
odd
putting their
thing to
pictures
focus
up,
on
period.
when like
If I
the
was
real
your mother,
problem is
I'd tell
that
you
they're
to
just
kick
not
rocks
getting
too.
along.
Edit. I'm a 62-year-old woman with 2 sons.
thank you
Both of their wives are darlings, and I have several pictures of them up. But if they were little jerks, you bet your butt I wouldn't have any pictures of them on display. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his mom? Please let us know. Mama doesn't sound very nice. Have you thought about throwing her from the train?
So
Am I
many
the
fucking
jerk for deciding
pictures.
I won't give any Christmas gifts
They
this
all
year
sort of
after
look
my
the
mom
same.
canceled the transaction on my card? I'm still angry over this, and I may not write very well. And also, I probably don't judge the situation very well being this angry, so I come to you. I'm a student. I have a student bank account where my college gives me money for transport when we have physical classes or scholarship. These kinds of bank accounts have no fees but are age restricted. Can't have one if you're over 25 and need an overseer. When I asked the bank about it, they told me it's just a security thing, so I chose my mom because she's more tech savvy than my dad. Well, through some incredible luck, I managed to get only top grades last year, so I was awarded a study scholarship. Great!
Poggers.
I've been saving it up, looking forward to worldwide Black Friday, eyeing an amazing drawing tablet. I do digital art on very old intros. The tablet I was eyeing is as big as my monitor. It's a display one and all around amazing. Black Friday rolls in, and Amazon in Germany, closest to me, has it in stock
Germany.
at an amazing price, a price I could afford. I was so happy I ordered it. Then I got a notice that the bank refused the card. I emailed Amazon. Their customer service is so fast
Watch
that
it
we
like
went over
not
the
let you
card
buy
details and
computers or
such,
something.
making sure it was all right. It was, and they advised me to call my bank. It was odd. I had bought things online in the past with this card and it went through. I had enough money for it, even extra. So I thought maybe they had technical difficulties. But it was too late in the day to call, and they don't work weekends, so I left them alone. Only to find out today that for big transactions, they ask for agreement from the overseer, and that mine canceled the transfer. I was like, what the heck? And confronted Mom about it, who throughout the weekend acted oblivious, and she told me that of course she couldn't let me throw money on something I don't need.
Thank you, Sad,
and that
for joining.
I wouldn't
also
have money for Christmas presents if I bought that.
And
then
also
she
thank
had
you,
the
Lobster.
audacity to ask me what
I
was
just
planning
didn't
to
see
give my
it.
family this year.
Sorry.
I told her that they won't get anything more than a bread
didn't
shadow
notice
from
I
me,
haven't been
and
really,
I went to my room
looking at
and cried on the carpet. I missed out on the offer. I can't afford the tablet anymore, and it's all because Mom wanted Christmas gifts. And no, I won't get her anything. Last year she got me a blouse too small for me that she later took for herself. She can gift herself this year too. A bread shadow is an expression for nothing in my language. Edit. Thank you so much for people offering me money in comments and DMs, but I can't accept that. I'm really grateful for you trying to help me,
thank you,
but
Huck.
I really can't
Or
take
Matthew,
that.
I guess
I'm really
Matthew's
thankful for the
easier to
offers and
say.
advice.
Thank
So
you.
many people offered me advice, money, their tablets, or other means
I
of
wonder
helping.
if she likes
and I'm
English,
really thankful
guys.
to
I don't
all.
like any of you
Also, lots of you told me
motherfuckers.
to check the sale that's going
You're
on
a
right
random
now,
dude
but
in
the tablet I
chat. Why the
ordered
fuck
wasn't
would
on
you think
sale.
you have a
Yet,
chance?
Epic Hamster found it.
Weird.
Same specs, different seller. For sale at an even better price than the Black Friday sale. I ordered it, it went through this time, and I'm so happy and excited. Thank you from all of my heart to everyone. I'm still going to reply to all of you, even if it's going to take me all night. Happy holidays to all of you. Frequently asked questions. This account I have to have because of my uni, but I'm going to make Dad the overseer and also open an account at another bank, a normal one, and transfer the money in small amounts to that one so I don't bother Dad with it. I'm an adult in my country. I'm 20, going to be 21 in April. The law asks my parents to support me until I finish my studies, or at least until I'm 26, but I plan on moving out sooner. I will gift my sister and Dad. They have nothing to do with the incident, and I love them lots.
Go
I
off,
love Mom
Germany.
too, but can't put up with her attitude any longer. Regarding what I'll give her, not sure yet, but there are some amazing ideas in the comments. She didn't react like that because she got me the tablet already. It's not her character to give me something she can't use. Regarding the gift Dad's planning on, and which she'll claim is from both of them, Dad is going to build a bigger enclosure for
No,
my lizard.
I'm not gonna
I may
fucking
wrap my
half-ass
lizard's
it.
whole branch
Like,
as
first of all,
nice
I'm
and
not
gift
gonna
them
save
to
it for
Mom,
another day
as per
because that
Christmas
eats into my
traditions regarding
plans for
naughty
next
kids.
week, and I'm
And
not
she
letting
doesn't
it eat
like
into my
skeely
weekend.
boy at all,
And
so
I'm
double
not
points,
gonna
I guess.
half-ass it by
People
putting
saying
out
that a
half
drawing
of the
tablet is
set
useless.
because that
Thanks for your input,
means
but the
all of the
question
time
was
I
if I was
spent
a
on it
jerk for the way I
is now
reacted, and my
wasted.
decision to not give her a
So
gift
I know
anymore.
that you think
As
you're
it's
helping
my
by giving
money,
me that
I
advice,
literally
but
can
it's
do
really
whatever
not
I
helpful
wish with it.
because
And a display
like
drawing tablet is
that
incredibly useful for an
assumes
aspiring digital
I would
artist
be
as
okay
myself.
with
Support our
cheapening
channel
my
by
work,
joining as a
which
member
I'm
today,
not
and
and
we'll
never
give you
have
a shout
been.
out in our
So,
next video. Or come watch this video next.
or it means I'm
You won't
okay
believe
with
what Karen does in that
wasting
one.
my time and or eating into my free time / other things I have planned, which again, not okay with that. So no, that's not an option.
Hey
Do
there,
not suggest
Mr. Redder
things.
here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen stole my cookbook,
the
so
next
now
one.
I'm suing her. After that, I told a customer her daughter bullied me back in high school. And after that, am I the jerk?
Hold on, I'm gonna put it in. Ah, link, post. There we go.
Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen stole my cookbook, so now I'm suing her. After that, I told a customer her daughter bullied me back in high school. And after that, am I the jerk for quitting my job after a 16-hour
Oh my god, when she talks, she's super annoying. Why? Is it because I said I didn't want to fuck you and you don't have a chance? It's interesting how I was talking before and you were fine with it when I wasn't shitting on you. But the second I'm like, yeah, anonymous person in my chat, I don't magically want to fuck you for just existing. Now you're mad about it? Stop being a stereotype, my guy. It's kind of embarrassing.
For big family events and at home for the immediate family, so her cooking was a huge part of my childhood. For one of my birthdays, I asked her for a cookbook of as many of the recipes as she could remember. So I have this
At least
handwritten journal full of my favorite
a few
childhood
of these
recipes.
photos. I just need
This
to crop.
cookbook has a lot of sentimental value to me, especially since my mother passed away shortly after. My cousin has been pestering me about borrowing the cookbook for years. She claims it's fair because my mother's cooking was just as much a part of her childhood as mine. She feels this
What?
way because her own mother was neglectful and her dad was absent, so my mom
Like,
was
that
often a mother
sucks,
figure to her,
but
and in all
it's not
honesty,
your
her
mom,
only
so...
parent-like figure. She spent some time living with us, and she sometimes called my mom, Mom.
That's
I've offered to let her
weird.
take pictures or scan it. She says it would take too long and wouldn't mean as much as the real thing.
What?
The reason I'm against her just taking
If you want the
is because
recipes,
my
it
cousin
should
is
be
a
fine if
messy
you get a
and clumsy
photocopy.
person, especially in the kitchen. I've never seen her cook a meal
Weird.
without causing some huge mess or spill. This scares me because the cookbook is not laminated or protected in any way. It's just paper and pencil. I had the family over for Thanksgiving and realized the morning after that my cookbook was gone. I immediately sent my
Bitch
cousin
stole it.
multiple texts because I knew it was her, but didn't get an answer. So
How
today
dare
I went
she?
over in person. She answers the door and immediately starts crying and justifying herself. She spilled tomato
Bitch.
sauce all over the book and then soaked it, trying to clean it up in tomato sauce. Most of the pages are pretty much destroyed and illegible. Nobody else in the family knows all those recipes. I feel like I've lost a part of my
Dude,
mom
I'd
and a part of my childhood.
fucking lose
I
it.
plan to
What?
pursue legal action. The
Good.
family has caught wind of this,
I
and
would.
I've received a flurry of messages calling me the jerk
They
and
can fuck
various
off.
other names, saying how I'm ruining the family over a book and a mistake, etc.
No, she
I really
did. She
empathize with her
stole.
grief over my mom, and I know they had a close relationship.
She
I
stole
also
something
understand that she
sentimental
didn't
to
spill
you
on the
that you
book
specifically
intentionally,
said
and
she
that she
could
feels
not
bad
have.
about it. I don't think that justifies her stealing and ruining something with that
Like,
level of
hell
sentimental
no. Fuck
value
out
to
of
me.
here.
Especially after I said no,
Swear to God.
gave reasoning for the no, and offered alternatives. So Reddit, would I be the jerk if I sue? I'm saying not the jerk, because your cousin clearly shouldn't have stolen
Ooh,
the cookbook and
curry
ruined
sounds
it.
so
But I
fucking
don't
good.
understand what you would get out of a lawsuit. You're the jerk. You're seriously going to sue your cousin
What?
over a cookbook?
Dude.
Chances are you have tons of things that belong to your mom. There's no need to be stingy with a cookbook,
Are you...
and if you had just been kind and given it to her, then you wouldn't even be in this situation.
Dude, she literally gave
Well,
her an
what do you think?
option.
Should OP sue her cousin
Are you kidding
or
me?
not?
I would
Please
sue.
let us
I would
know.
sue
I'd do a lot
so
more
hard.
than just sue, to be honest.
Same, Karen.
I told a customer her daughter bullied me back in high school. So I work at a department store in a mall near where I grew up. I was bullied in high school. I don't think about it a lot, but sometimes people from high school come through my store. I just do my job, and I'm pleasant to them because I need the money. Anyway, a woman came through to pick up an order, and she
Felt
gave me the
that.
last name and spelled it. I thought, hey, that's Kristen and Katie's last name from high school. It was a pretty unique name. I didn't say anything at first, just normal pleasant chatter. She took the stuff out of the bag to make sure it was right and commented, my daughters will love these. They just finished college, etc. She essentially confirmed whose mom she was. I was just making small talk and said, oh, I think I went to school with a Kristen and Katie last name. She said, oh yeah? How funny. Were you friends? I said, oh no, I just knew they were in my grade. She said, were you on the volleyball team with them? I said, no, I don't think so. She looked at my name tag and said, that's odd. I think I remember them talking about a penny back then. You must have come over for their birthday or something. That just kind of made me sad, because I've never been to a birthday party before. And I said, no, I definitely never came over. Kristen bullied me, and I don't think I ever talked to Katie. Her entire demeanor changed, which was okay, honestly. I had people in line. She didn't say a single thing after that, and just kind of left without taking her order sheet. I didn't chase her down to get it to her.
Lol.
She'll have a copy in her email anyway.
Lol.
The next customer in line said something like, whew, that was awkward. They both laughed about
man,
it,
that's
but later
funny.
on, my coworker said it was pretty rude of me to tell the woman that her kid was a bully. She has a daughter. I don't have kids. I have a betta fish named Carl. On the one hand, yeah, I guess. It was like 4 years ago, but at the same time, it happened. And I think a parent would want to know that their kid was a jerk to others so they could talk to them about it.
Yeah.
Even as adults.
I would say
Am I
so.
the jerk?
Nah.
You're the jerk. What? You brought the connection up. What did you think was going to happen? She didn't know who you were. Her daughters probably never mentioned you. She was trying
She
to
literally
be
just
polite
said
to
they did
someone who
mention
seemed
her.
to know her
What do
family.
you mean?
This entire interaction wouldn't have happened if you hadn't forced
Oh my
it.
god,
What?
Reddit, I hate
Did you
you
think you would tell
sometimes.
their mother how awful her daughter was, and she would tearfully beg your forgiveness and call your ex-bully on the phone in front of you and disown her for her crimes? You put this woman who just wanted to do her shopping in peace in an uncomfortable position
Her
for
daughters
no
put her in
reason.
an uncomfortable position by being
It
little
seems I'm
pieces
going
of
against the
shit,
grain
actually.
here, but you're the jerk. Obviously, the daughters are jerks for the bullying, but they're not part of this story.
Reddit,
This is an
can you
interaction between
stop with
you,
the high
who works
horse?
in
Holy
customer
shit.
service, and their mother,
Sometimes
a paying
people
customer who
who
didn't
raised
bully you in
other
high
shitty
school.
people need to
As part of your
fucking
job, you
deal with the
usually have to make small
consequences of
talk
them
as you complete the
actions.
sale.
Okay?
But you recognized her. She didn't recognize you. You were the one to bring up knowing her daughters, and being asked how
She
you know them
literally
was bound to be the next question.
said
You may have answered honestly, but
they
there was always
talked
the
about
option
her.
you didn't take. Say nothing in the first
Bruh.
place. Take her money, let her leave with her shopping, and forget about it.
Yeah, okay, you
Instead,
didn't have to
you
say
went with
it.
the nuclear option.
Who cares?
I noticed in another comment, someone
God.
said you were unprofessional. This is what they mean. For minimum wage in retail, professional means you say, have a nice day, and then shut up. You've probably
Honestly, I don't
embarrassed a
care.
customer into not coming back, and you're lucky your management didn't overhear the conversation.
Bitch, I'm working
Well, what
minimum
do you
wage.
think?
If the
Is
fucking
LB a jerk
parents
for what
of
she
my
said,
bullies
or
come
not?
in, I
Please
am
let us know.
definitely ruining
I'd be
that
proud
day for
if I
them,
found out
okay? I
my
don't care
kids
if I
were
get
bullies.
fired.
Am I the jerk
You don't
for
think
quitting
there's
my
like
job
50
after a
other
16-hour
minimum
shift?
wage jobs
I,
hiring?
19 male, work at a gas station
Let's
for the
be
past
real.
7.5 months.
They all need
I
workers
had
right
just
now
put
because
in
no
my
one
2
wants
weeks
to work
notice
for
last
them.
week. I worked an 8-hour shift. I finished
Fuck
all of my
off.
paperwork and waited on my coworker. We'll call him A, who was supposed to work overnight. 5 minutes pass and I call A, but he doesn't answer. I try to call both managers, S and R we'll call them, but neither of them answered. It's now 12 a.m. I could just walk out, let them deal with this, but as the only person who was on the shift, I decided I couldn't leave the store, so I stayed all night long. This is when I was honestly considering quitting on the spot. I had already put in my 2 weeks notice. Plus, I live in an employment at will state. So 5:30 a.m. rolls around.
Employment at
My
will?
manager doesn't
What
clock
does that
in until
mean?
6 a.m. But, upon seeing my car, came in and asked me why I was still here. I tell him A never showed up to work, so I stayed. I showed him my call log of me calling him and S multiple times throughout the night, as well as A. He told me that he drove his fiancée to work last night at 10 p.m. and must have passed
Does the
right
rest
out
of my
last
house look
night.
like this room?
He
No,
said
this
I
is,
should have
I mean,
texted him
sort of, but
because he
not
was up at 4
exactly, because
a.m.
this is my work
And in
room.
his words, if I
Yeah.
had seen your message, I would have hopped in the shower and gotten here. While it's a nice sentiment, that meant that R was up at 4 a.m. And I don't know anyone who doesn't check their phone in the morning or use their phone as an alarm anymore. There's no way he wouldn't have seen all the missed calls from last night. I brush it off, do my paperwork for the night, again, and ask him if they're going to
keep
make me
forgetting which
work my
photo
shift
I'm
today,
on.
because I was scheduled for another 8-hour shift. He calls S, who answered immediately. She said her ringer was off last night. S tells me that I would possibly have to work my shift if they couldn't get a hold of A. I was too exhausted to really plead my case, and I was on the verge of crying because I was hurting so bad at this point and starting to feel sick. R told me he'd message me about whether or not I work tonight. I said okay and went home. I told my parents all about the issue, and they said it was a little suspicious. How I couldn't get a hold of anyone. S has never missed any of my calls ever, but she answered Paul's call
I
immediately
think
when
you
her
did
ringer is
had
off.
it's going
It feels
good.
suspicious.
I'm
A
sleepy,
jab, because I
but,
had put in
you
my
know,
2 weeks notice. My dad told
lots
me I
of
needed to quit
photos
immediately.
to edit.
Mom even asked if anyone apologized or thanked me, and they didn't.
Of course
R
not.
sent me a message that said I needed to come in at 5 p.m. and work a 6-hour shift. I just worked a 16-hour shift, and you want me to work 6 more
No.
hours? That's 22 hours in a short amount of time. He told
That
me a
cannot be
4-hour
legal.
shift, not 6. I told him I wasn't coming in, and I decided to quit on the spot.
Nice.
A part of me truly feels guilty about it. Because
Bro,
I've
when I
always
quit
worked through my
places,
2
I
weeks
literally
notice,
didn't
and it
even
just
tell
feels
them.
wrong.
Unless I liked the
So,
place, and then I
am
gave
I
them
the
like a
jerk in
2
this
weeks or
situation?
whatever. But like, if I didn't like the place,
Not the jerk.
I
They're
just
managers.
don't show up
They get
again.
paid more for dealing with emergencies like A's no-show.
Fuck your
If they
shit.
think working 22
I don't
hours
care.
within a 36-hour period
You
is
don't pay me
doable,
enough to
I
even
guess
care
that's
about
a lucky
quitting.
thing for them, as they're about to find out how it feels. Not the jerk. One of my first jobs was at a daycare where I watched the kids from 4:30 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. when we closed. After about 8 or 9, when the last infant went home, I was usually alone. Now, in our state, legally, no one is supposed to be alone in a daycare, but the two managers claimed it was okay because they each lived less than 5 minutes away. So one Friday, the empty house back behind the daycare caught fire. It was kind of wooded, and I was the first to call 911. I tried calling the managers then, to no answer. After the firemen checked out the building, they suggested we needed to evacuate. Two parents had showed up and mercifully stayed with me while I was frantically trying to call the managers. For 2 hours, while I tried to keep the kids calm and contact all the parents, I think I had about 5 kids left. Those two never called back.
Bro.
I got all the kids to their parents, and I locked the place
Fuck
up.
that shit.
I get called at 4:30 a.m. because they had both been out drinking and went to a concert and didn't see all the messages. When I went into my next shift, it was to hand in my resignation. It was the first
Don't
time
you
I
have
quit
to
a
settle
job,
stuff
and I was
after
so
you quit?
stressed
Settle
I had
what?
hives. They were so nasty, claiming I should have tried
Settle
harder
what?
to get a hold of them. I was in tears and left without going back.
What
But
do you
I
have
did
to
send a nice
settle?
letter to the state board with my story of all the times they left me alone, including emails I had sent expressing my concern over exactly this situation. There was even a letter where I asked what would happen if I slipped mopping and hit my head, asking which of the kids I should train to call them for backup in case I was unconscious. I also had letters from other employees and parents and a contact number for the fire chief, who were all concerned that I was left alone. They got shut down 2 months later. Oh, she don't know nothing. Waited for 2 hours to get called at the DMV. Went through the 30-minute paperwork process. Finally got outside, and two ladies started yelling from their car. Lady one, lady, talking to me. Can you get state IDs in there? Lady two, talking over lady one. Do you work here? Do you work here? OP shakes head
salary you
and
weren't
shrugs
paid?
shoulders. No,
Oh,
I don't
no.
work here. I believe so.
I'm
but I
gonna
don't
be
know.
out
Lady
50
one,
bucks.
but can I get
Whatever,
my ID?
honestly.
OP. I believe so,
Like,
but I don't know. There's a guy that stands out
if I
here to
really
check
need
you
the
in.
money, I
He's
can
helping
bother
someone.
them for it,
Lady
but
one,
honestly, like,
can you go get him?
just quit
go in
right
there
after
and
you
get
get
him.
paid.
I'm gonna go in there and get him.
Then you don't have to
Me.
worry about that.
I can't go back yet. I don't work here. Lady 1 and 2. You don't work here? You don't know nothing. Why are you even out here? You don't work here. All I did was walk out of the exit door. I walked away and listened to the constant insults because I don't work there. Edit. Y'all got me giggling over here.
Oh my
Also,
God.
I forgot a fun bit of the story until just now. The
I love
DMV guy
that I
ended
don't
up
work
coming
here
back
stories.
outside about 5 minutes after the verbal lashing
That's
I
so
received
funny.
as I texted my husband the saga. They called him over to their car, just as they had tried to do to me. Lady 1. Can I get an ID here? Lady 2, bringing out Lady 1's walker. DMV guy.
Bye.
Yes,
Have a good
you can
sleep.
get your ID here, but we aren't taking any more walk-ins for the day. You'll need to make an appointment. Cue hysterics from both women. Some names and other powwow amongst both of the ladies. Lady 1, the driver. Man, I really need to get my ID. I just need a state ID. I can't see, and I'm having a hard time walking. I just moved here, but I need to get my ID. I just need to get my ID. Can't I just get in to get it? Guy. I understand.
Bruh.
We just cannot take anyone else this morning without having an appointment. You'll have to come back after you make an appointment. Well, fine then. Can I make an appointment? I didn't hear his response, but he finished the conversation and promptly returned to the front door, where I heard him get cussed out by 3 more people because they needed an appointment, and they
Bro.
felt they should get to go in right that second. I just want to know, how is she driving if she doesn't need a driver's license and just wants a state ID? Also, why is she driving if she can't see? She and her friend ended
Good
up
point.
yelling over to me again a few minutes after that.
Very good
They
point.
called, Lady, about 30 times while I ignored them. Another guy finally came out of the building behind me, and they asked him their question. There's no way I was about to talk to them again, not even to answer them with how to get out of the parking lot. Am I the jerk for leaving early from Thanksgiving with my in-laws because I did not want to
I
watch
like
the
to
movie
just
Love
ignore people
Actually?
like that. Like, they'll talk
There's a
to you,
tradition at my in-laws
and you just don't
that we all sit
respond.
down and watch a Christmas movie after lunch is over.
They get
And we
so
bring out the tree and
frustrated.
everything. It's usually a lot of fun, and after the movie, people leave or sleep over or whatever. I'll say that historically, my sister-in-law is really big on tradition and makes a big deal about if things are different or if people try to back out. There's a reason for it, but it's irrelevant in my opinion. Well, Some context is that I found out my husband had been cheating on me earlier in the year. We're in therapy and working through a lot of stuff. We're staying together. It doesn't mean I'm healed. I still have a lot to go, but I'm working on it.
Choices were
The
made.
movie that my sister-in-law picked this year was Love Actually, which is a family favorite. I asked if we could maybe watch something else because we've watched it a few times. It was shot down, which is totally fine. I don't get to ruin everyone else's time. I pulled my husband aside and said, "Hey, I think I'm going to take off. Do you mind?" He asked me to just stay, and that maybe I can go to the bathroom or something during those scenes. But I said no. I'm not going to feel comfortable. He accepted it and said that he wanted to stay to
Are there
spend time with
cheating
his
scenes
family.
in Love Actually? I can't
When I
remember
got
what
back
happened in that
inside,
fucking
I
movie,
said that I
bro.
wasn't feeling great and was going to head back home and come pick up my husband tomorrow morning. Everyone kept asking me to stay, and my sister-in-law was like, "Is it because we won't watch a different movie?" I said no, I just wasn't feeling great, and got my things and left. When I got home,
Don't
I
lie.
polished off a bottle of wine and watched Gossip Girl for a few hours. and
Oh
just
my
calmed down
fucking
and
god,
relaxed.
wait, I have to pause.
Sister-
My fuck Bro, my fucking aunt just texted me. She's like, "I'm watching Arcane with your cousin. Gotta know if you've done any Jinx or Vi or any character from League of Legends yet." That's so fucking funny that she's watching with my cousin.
texted me.
I could not imagine
I
my
said, "Yeah,
aunt watching
feeling a
that
bit better."
show.
And she
Like,
wrote this whole
I
thing
know that
about
my
how she
cousins
gets
love
that
League,
it's
but that
boring
is
to
so
watch the same
fucking
movies
funny.
over and over again. But then
Oh my
husband was
god.
obviously upset that I just left him there, and how it was awkward and uncomfortable that I just abandoned
She probably
him.
knows that I would be
I
doing
just
Jinx out
responded,
of all of
"I'll
them.
keep that in mind."
Because,
And she
you know,
kept going
best
on
girl.
with, "Are you going to do the same thing if we watch Rudolph with the kids on Christmas?" I didn't respond to her, and now I feel like maybe I didn't handle this well. I thought that if I stayed there, even if I left the room during
See, I
those
think you
scenes,
could have handled
I
it
know they
better.
were
You
coming
could have
and
just
fixate
told
on
them
it.
you were
Like
uncomfortable
I said,
because of
we're
the
working
cheating
on it,
scenes or
but the triggers
whatever.
are still triggers, and I didn't want to make a spectacle of
I
myself.
feel like,
Am
yeah.
I the jerk? Should I have just sucked it up and removed myself for the
Oh,
sake of family
fuck, my
tradition?
back hurts.
Sorry, I should have said, no, his family does
I
not know.
also
Forgot to
don't.
include that. Thanks.
Oh, they don't
Hey
know.
guys, thanks so much for all the comments. I just wanted to address something that keeps coming up so people don't have to keep commenting about it. We don't want his family or my family or anyone to know. It's not because of shame, embarrassment, etc. It's because we like to keep our private lives private.
Are you sure
No, I
about
didn't
that?
twist my arm into this.
Are you
I
sure
also
about
prefer to keep
that?
our lives
Because
private.
that
We
doesn't
won't be
sound
telling anyone
okay.
who doesn't
LP,
need
you're
to
in
know.
denial.
Therapists involved, for example. You should have told them. I'm so sorry. Cheating is devastating, and I admire your commitment to making the marriage work. But you need to really take a step back and understand something. Your husband asked you to maintain a high level of discomfort and pain, all in an attempt to shield himself from the consequences of his own behavior.
Mm-hmm.
His sister-in-law is pushy, yes. So is mine. But she didn't do it maliciously, because
Especially
you
if they
protected
don't
the
know.
very person who hurt and betrayed you.
Yeah, like,
That
why are you
is, of
protecting
course,
him,
a
you
decision
fucking
made by the both of
weirdo?
you. But in my opinion, that means hubby should be even more aware of your comfort and boundaries and be actively working toward respecting them. He didn't, and now you are paying the price. Again, you are not the jerk. The only reason I don't say not the jerk is because your hubby is. He should have put his foot down on a movie change, not asked you to take another cut to the heart for him. Good luck and happy holidays. Edit. For those who insist I am the worst and stop reading after the first sentence, what I should have said was, I would have told them. If all you want to comment is how atrocious I must be for saying you should have told them, never fear, other people already have you covered. Thanks.
No, but you should have told them.
Well, what do you think? Is Opie the jerk for leaving and not watching the movie, or not? Please let us
No.
know. You couldn't
But
even pay me to
tell
watch
them.
a Christmas movie called Love Actually. Am I the jerk for quitting my job to be a
Bruh.
house husband and going to court to get 50-50
all I remember was
visitation and
that it
remove
was
child
super
support?
cheesy and like
Me,
rom-com-y.
36 male, and my ex-wife, 35
Oh,
female,
God.
has 2 kids who are 7 and 6. We've been divorced for 3 years now, and we are both happily remarried. We were bad spouses, but are now decent friends
Goddamn, my
and
phone
both
is
good
lagging.
parents. My ex-wife has primary custody, but
It's making
currently
this so
I
much
get them
harder.
every other weekend and 2 to 3 evenings a week. It also helps that my wife, 38 female, and I live just a few miles away in the next town. Since the divorce, my ex-wife has been a stay-at-home mom, and her husband, 36, male, has a good job making $120,000 a year. I have a good job and make $150,000 a year. But my wife has always been the breadwinner and recently received a sizable promotion, raise up to $280,000 a year.
Nice.
I've always wanted to go back to school, but with my work schedule, I was never able to do it. My wife and I have been talking, and she thinks I should quit my job, go back to school, and be a house husband.
Hell
She
yeah.
already made the joke about getting me a French maid outfit. Ha ha ha. Seriously though, this would allow us to spend more time with my kids too. We've been going over this for a few weeks,
do it.
talking through how it would reduce our income, retirement
Very
savings,
poggers.
how it would affect our marriage, etc. We also talked about how we could logistically do it with the kids too. Luckily, since we live close to my kids' school, it should be easy for me to do school drop-offs and pickups, so I could do a 50-50 arrangement.
Phone, stop lagging.
Here's my
God.
concern. Since my ex-wife was a stay-at-home mom and I kept working, I've been paying her $2,000 a month. If I quit my job and went 50-50 on custody, I think it would be fair to go back to court to get child support reduced to zero, since neither of us would be working and we would be 50-50. I talked to my ex-wife about this, and at first she was on board until I brought up child support. She blew up, calling me selfish for only thinking about myself, and that since I have a good job, I need to keep it. I didn't want to get into a fight with her, so I hung up. But now I'm second-guessing everything.
I mean,
Am I
you
the jerk for
shouldn't
wanting
keep
to
your
quit my
job just
to
so
be
you
a
can
house
fucking
husband
pay
and
child
go to court
support,
to
but
get
at the same
50-50
time,
visitation and
I
remove
feel like
child
you should
support?
still pay child
Edit
support
one.
in some way.
My ex-wife and I split all kid-related expenses, and I have covered their health insurance since birth. I offered to continue paying for their coverage. Well, it would be on my wife's plan.
I mean,
but
if you
still,
guys are splitting everything
edit
already,
two.
then it should.
As mentioned above, we live just a few miles away from my ex-wife and her husband. Nothing would change for the kids' education, sports, friends, favorite donut shop, etc. Edit 3. My ex-wife was a successful real estate agent, making $100,000 a year. She chose to be a stay-at-home mom after she got remarried. Edit 4. I will of course consult with an attorney before taking any actions.
Yeah,
Edit 5.
definitely do that.
I feel it is important to add this note about how we arrived at $2,000 a month of child support. When we got divorced, I was earning $140K a year, and my wife was earning $100K a year. She didn't want to live in the house, so we refinanced her out of the house, and she was paid out. The California Child Support and Spousal Support Calculator gave me a guideline of $13.50 per month for child support and $100 a month for spousal support.
Good luck,
When we went through mediation, she requested $2,000 since she was going to have the expense of a new 3-bedroom house. I agreed to the increased amount of money. Even after she was married and my ex-wife and her husband bought their house, I never went back to lower the monthly payments. Reply. If in America, depending on the state, talk to a lawyer. You can't quit your job without cause if you're the provider. There are laws that prevent people from doing this. Reply.
Sounds like he's not the
Look,
provider.
I'm not a lawyer. But is child support not in part about keeping kids' quality of life stable between two households? If your combined household makes doable hers still, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if you were still on the hook for child support. I'm also going to point out that if you're quitting your job to go back to school, the judge will likely be inquiring about why you think school will take you less time than a job, enough to be able to handle 50-50 custody when you didn't want it when you had a job, and what you plan to do when you finish school. The "I don't know" that you're giving us here won't fly. Nobody is going to alter a custody agreement that's working to 50-50, knowing that you're not sure you plan to keep 50-50 custody indefinitely. That you're legitimately going to put renegotiation back on the table in 3 years. Your kids need stability, and spending 3-ish years with 50-50, and then you going back to being a weekend visit after is less ideal than staying a weekend visit the whole time. Am I the jerk for calling my brother's wife a neglectful, financially irresponsible wife? I'm female, 32, and my brother, male, 36, had a serious accident in his truck 4 years ago, resulting in him becoming disabled and wheelchair-bound. My sister-in-law, his wife, used to be a stay-at-home wife. She is currently handling his care and are essentially living off his Social Security benefits payments, which admittedly isn't a lot, but my parents pay for the house's mortgage, so there's enough money to get them by. My sister-in-law and I have never really gotten along, but we stay civil. However, my biggest argument with her happened days ago, when she told us she was going to pursue her old job again to be able to earn money. My parents and I were confused. We asked, how is she going to go back to work when she has my disabled brother to care for? She told us she's going to hire a carer to handle all of my brother's needs, which triggered a very negative reaction in me and my parents. I told her she chose to become a stay-at-home wife, but she explained that circumstances changed, and she had to go back to work she left years ago to be able to provide for herself and my brother, and a carer is better qualified to care for my brother since she feels overwhelmed and exhausted. But I pointed out how a personal carer requires so much money and that her new commitment of a job cannot be put
I've
before
done
her
68 so far.
I told her it was a bad idea, but she argued that she is in this situation, not me, and she's trying to improve it while I'm judging her from a distance.
I'm not going
I
to
told
finish
her
the
she was
stream.
wrong, since this is my brother
Definitely
we're
not
talking
going to be
about,
doing this late
and I
into the
help
night.
with the mortgage. So in response, I called her a neglectful, selfish, financially irresponsible wife for throwing money, my brother's money, away on a carer when it's unnecessary and she is available, but she chooses to go back to work. She acted shocked,
dude,
and lashed out
expecting
at me,
someone to be a carer when they are not a carer is,
that I should show some
like,
empathy.
that is definitely a
I said I
full-time
do have
job.
empathy
Like,
for my
it's
brother
not...
and her too.
It's
But
not
now
really
that she's
casual.
going to pay a carer using my brother's social security benefits, then I can't help but feel she's slowly checking out of her own marriage. She got highly offended that I question her love for my brother now that he's disabled, and left in a rush after calling me nuts
She's
and awful.
not
My mother
trained
agreed
for this.
partially with what I
Like,
said, but told me I went out of
what?
line by calling her neglectful, especially since she, sister-in-law, said she's wanting to go back to work to improve her living situation,
Yeah.
but my dad is 100% on my side.
No, you guys
Was
are
I the jerk
judgy.
for my
Unless
reaction,
you
or was I
decide you want to
justified?
go and take care of him.
Oh
like,
boy,
what the fuck?
you're not going to enjoy this comment section. Yes, you're the jerk. 1. Caregiver burnout is 100% real. Why not give your sister-in-law a break
Like, I
and
can't.
you care for your brother for a week while
Yeah,
she stays in a
seriously.
hotel?
He clearly doesn't
2.
know what it takes to
She's
care
probably
for
trying to
someone
keep the
that
marriage alive.
much.
Caring for somebody with disabilities is a lot like being a parent. Breaking that dynamic by hiring a carer is probably the single best thing for their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention increasing your brother's dignity. Did you ask what he thinks of this plan at any point?
Yeah.
3. Horrible as it sounds, permanently disabling injuries have a nasty tendency to reduce lifespan. Would you keep supporting your sister-in-law if your brother passed? Does she know that? She needs a safety net,
Yeah,
which means a
seriously.
job and a pension. Not your marriage, not your business. Butt out. You're the jerk on every level, OP.
Mm-hmm.
How is your sister-in-law neglectful for being willing to pay for a medical professional to do something they're trained for? How is she
She's
neglectful
not
for
trained
trying to
in
add
doing
money
this.
into your brother's and her household?
Like, if
If you're
anything,
so
it's
worried
actually,
about
like,
them paying for your
potentially
brother's
dangerous
care,
because she
I
could
expect
fuck up.
you or your mom to step
Especially if
up
she's, like,
and take him in.
emotionally involved with
You're
the
the
person.
jerk.
Like,
She is correct. A carer would be way more qualified to do their
Yeah.
job than she is. Also, yeah, it is horrible to care for someone 24/7, especially a close family member. It is so physically, mentally, and emotionally draining. Take some PTO and put yourself in her shoes for however long you can to try and see what it's like. Until you are in her
Seriously.
shoes, you may not judge her. It is very wonderful that you help pay for the mortgage. That does not mean you get to say she has to stay home all the time.
yeah, like,
Am
I
the
pay
jerk
for your
for telling my
mortgage, so now
sister
you have
to
to,
reimburse
like,
me for
slave
one
away
half
and
the cost of
only
my
help my
wedding
brother
from
and
10
never
years
do
ago?
anything else, and
My
you can
younger
never have
sister
help
got
with it.
engaged
Like,
a couple months before lockdown. Neither of us are close with our parents, and we are the only siblings.
insane
I'm 7
people
years
behavior.
older and more established in my career. My sister
Hello,
and her
ow.
fiance struggle financially,
I don't know why
which
you're
is
here.
to be expected as they're just starting out. I'm not rich by
Oh,
any
man.
means, but I've
So
always
dead.
done my best to help them when I can. Groceries, rent, etc.
Ooh,
Because I know that they
just got
would
a
never
headache.
get any help from our parents. When they announced their engagement, pre-lockdown, I was happy for them. And offered
Yeah, I
to
don't
help
know
them
what
with some
happened
of the
with
wedding
TikTok,
costs
but it
and
likes me
throwing a bridal
again
shower.
for some
Then
reason.
lockdown hit, and all plans came to a grinding halt. My
I'll
sister
enjoy
is
it while it
incredibly impatient
lasts.
and doesn't think before she acts. She had asked about the bridal
Every day
shower
with
numerous
TikTok, I
times.
expect to
I
go
told
on
her
there
that
and
we could not do this right now
I've had
because
stuff
of what's
deleted.
going
Oh yeah, I
on.
got a post
And also
deleted
that
off
my financial
Instagram.
situation has changed,
The Shigo
and I would not be
post.
comfortable spending this money until my work hours
Hopefully
were
it goes
to
back
normal.
up, but we'll
I
find
also have
out
bills and
if it
kids
does
that
or
need to
not.
come first. She got angry that I was unsupportive, just like our parents, which upsets me immensely,
Goodbye.
as I've done a lot for her, and decided to elope at City Hall a couple weeks ago. They didn't bother to tell anyone, and just made a rude and dramatic post about it on Facebook. Not that anyone cares, but we got married today, blah blah blah, and then went to berate individual family members in the comments. No surprise that she ruffled quite a few feathers with this crap. She is not the first family member to elope, so the eloping wasn't the issue. I got a message from her earlier asking me about when we were having the bridal shower. I told her that we weren't, and that bridal showers are for before weddings. No one would go now anyways. She got upset again and made a comment about how she had not received any wedding gifts yet either. I told her that she likely won't be getting anything, as not only is it not customary to send gifts after someone elopes, but she's acting like an entitled jerk. She panicked. I guess she had been banking on these gifts, and then suggested that since I received over $6,000 worth of gifts 10 years ago, I should have to give her one half, and also still give her the money I was going to for the wedding, and that she had quit her job after the wedding because she thought she was getting this money. Here's where I might be the jerk. I lost my temper with her entitled crap. I refused to give her any more money. In my opinion, she should not have quit her job. I also told her that I'd write her a check for one half the gifts as soon as she paid one half the cost of my $40,000 wedding. Now she's whining on Facebook about how I'm
I don't think the cost of your wedding should decide how much your gifts
was 10 years ago,
get or whatever.
You know, support our channel by joining
whatever, but it is interesting to elope and then ask people who you didn't invite to, like, give you shit.
You won't believe what Karen does in that.
Yeah. Oh no, Chuckles, are you sick? Get better soon.
Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode.
Sorry, I'm like so bad at reading chat right now.
Stories. Today we have a very special episode for you. A compilation of some of the greatest entitled parent stories we read over the past year. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a few hours of the most entitled parents you've ever heard of. And by the way, Karen assured me that if this video gets 1,000 likes, she won't try to speak to anyone's manager for an entire week. So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe.
Yeah, that's kind of part of eloping, is that, you know, people are kind of going to be bitter. What?
And become an official member of the Re-Army today.
Well, at least you're with people who can help. Bright side.
Am I the jerk for deciding I won't give any Christmas gifts this year
could be worse.
My mom canceled the transaction on my card? I'm still angry over this, and I may not write very well. And also, I probably don't judge the situation very well when I'm angry, so I come to you. I'm a student. I have a student bank account where my college gives me money for transport when we had physical classes or scholarship. These kinds of bank accounts have no fees but are age restricted. Can't have one if you're over 25 and need an overseer. When I asked the bank about it, they told me it's just a security thing, so I chose my mom because she's more tech savvy than my dad. Well, through some incredible luck, I managed to get only top grades last year, so I was awarded a study scholarship. Great! I've been saving it up, looking forward to worldwide Black Friday, eyeing an amazing drawing tablet. I do digital art on very old intros. The tablet I was eyeing is as big as my monitor.
Okay, let me find something else. Okay. Yeah.
Hey there, Mr. Redder here.
Okay. Let me find us. Link.
Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. My daughter got stuck on the roof, and I refused to help her. After that, am I the jerk for not getting McDonald's for my friend's kid? And after that, am I the jerk for calling my mom to pick me up early from a party? Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen gets stuck on the roof.
God.
Better than being stuck here with you, I'll tell you that much. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. My daughter got stuck on the roof and I refused to help her. I, male 34, have a 17-year-old daughter from my first relationship. Her mom and I haven't been together since before our daughter was born, but are still good friends and have co-parented well. I've always had my daughter twice a week and every other weekend. My daughter's bedroom window is connected onto our roof, which is flat, so her and her friends have occasionally went out there with blankets and food and sat and chatted. It's not particularly high up, so it isn't hugely unsafe, but I always urge her not to do it by herself. Did you just
ask why I don't get high on Ritalin?
So it's hard getting
I don't have fucking ADD. Do you have
On
a
Saturday,
brain
I
at
was
all?
out
Because,
when I got a call from my daughter
oh
telling
my
me she
god,
got
you seem
stuck
very
on the roof, and
uneducated
I
on
needed
how
to come home
drugs work
immediately
at
to
all.
come and help her. I told her that I'd be home soon, but she had gotten out
Embarrassing.
there herself when I've told her a million times not to, so she can figure out how to get herself back in. I got back around 2 hours later, and my daughter had called her mom, who was absolutely furious. We live in Saskatchewan, so it was cold, but our daughter was fine, and I told her mom that if our daughter had listened to me about not going out there, it wouldn't even have happened. Our daughter is fine, and I wasn't gone that long. But her mom and even my girlfriend are saying that I put my need to prove a point above my daughter's well-being. Am I the jerk? Edit. The window is probably closer to around 4 feet.
I hate to break it to you, my guy, but like if you're taking drugs that are meant for ADD and it's helping you focus,
Can't get back in the window without
you have ADD.
Lol, not the jerk.
Okay?
I'm sorry I'm laughing at the expense of your daughter.
I don't know how else to explain that to you.
I used to do the same thing at my parents' house. They always told me to stop, so I got stuck, and they were home. Instead of helping me right away, they went outside and took pictures of me stuck on the roof. There's still a framed photo of me on the roof that my mother has on her desk. She wasn't in any danger. You came home and helped. If she was in danger, she should have called friends, neighbors, and or the fire department.
Aw, thank you, Alec.
Not the jerk. Presumably, you explained the reasons
Thanks.
why you didn't
I
want
am
her
not
to go out
ever
there by
thinking of an
herself.
editor.
It's a
Please,
perfectly reasonable
please, people,
request
stop
to ask her
asking if I
not to
want an
go out there by
editor.
herself. Many parents wouldn't
I'm
let their
never,
kid out on
ever,
the roof at
ever
all.
going to let you
Your
fucking
daughter chose to
idiots
disregard that
near
very
my
reasonable
photo
rule
sets.
and suffered the consequences. I don't agree with the
Like,
comments saying that you risked her
no.
well-being to prove a point. Your daughter clearly had access to a phone.
You don't know what you're
and was
doing.
capable of calling both yourself and
You're
her
not going to
mother.
be fast
If
enough.
she was in any real danger, then she
I don't want
or
to
her
fucking
mother
pay you for
could have
it.
called the emergency services.
And it's
But
just
it
an
seems all
excuse
she
for
had
you to
was a
get
little
free
discomfort.
content.
That will
Like,
make
do you
for a
think I'm
good
dumb?
lesson to be more
I'm
careful
not
in
going
the
to give you
future.
free content so that you
You're the
can get
jerk.
paid
Yeah, what she
to
did was
get free
stupid,
content. Like,
but
that's...
leaving her out
I'm
there
not,
for
I'm
2
not stupid.
hours in below freezing and windy weather while you were grocery shopping is way too extreme a punishment. People saying not the jerk, and this teaches her consequences.
Like, I find
for her
it slightly
actions.
offensive when
She
people
already
just
got
are
that when
randomly
she
like,
got
oh,
stuck
I
in the
can edit
cold.
for you?
The OP doesn't
Like,
need
dude.
to, and shouldn't pile on
Who
more
the
just
fuck
to
are you
rub it
to
in.
say that you can edit
If
for
you
me?
rushed home
Why
and
would you
picked her
think
up,
you're
she would have still
qualified?
had
When
an
have I ever
unpleasant
said
enough
that I want
experience that it
one?
would have taught her a lesson.
Like,
But by leaving her for 2 hours,
every time I
you made her
mention that I'm
experience
editing
far
my
worse than
photos
it
or
needed to be,
videos or whatever, I
greatly
get like
escalating the
50 people
punishment
saying
for her
that. So
mistake
sorry if I
far
sound a
more than
little
was
bit
warranted.
like
Here's the thing.
jaded,
Think about how
but
your daughter will look at
when
this.
you get
Do you
100
think she'll
comments
look at
saying the
this and
same
think about
fucking
how
thing
dumb it
from
was for
random
her
ass
to get herself
people,
into
like,
that mess?
it
Or do you
gets
think she'll
slightly
look at this
tiring.
and think about how much of a jerk you were for leaving her up there?
Like,
By over-punishing her, you've taken her mind off of her own actions and instead put them onto you. Parents aren't supposed to punish their kids. They're meant to teach them. And in this case, you were a crappy teacher. Well,
like
what do you
I've
think?
spent 10
Is that me, the
years
jerk, for leaving her up there for
perfecting
2
my
hours
method.
or not? Please let us know. Am I the jerk for not getting McDonald's for my friend's kid?
Yeah.
Yesterday, my friend Ryan had to work.
You have not.
I was off work, so he asked if I'd mind watching his kids.
Like, I don't
for the
really want to
day
have to
since
wait
they
a
have this
week.
week
My
off
turnaround
school.
time is
Now, for
like
the
a
most part,
day.
his kids, Andy, who's 10, and Mary, who's 7, are
Like,
good
I've
kids,
worked with
and
like
I've hung out
actual
with them all
professional
before.
photographers.
So I said sure. I was
And
told
even
by
they
Ryan
take
that
like a
Andy
month
will
to
only
edit.
eat
Like,
chicken tenders,
fuck out of
mac and
here.
cheese, hot dogs, and peanut
No.
butter and jelly. This is gonna be good. We watched some movies, played Wii, and I took them out to eat for lunch. Then Andy, who's 10, kept telling me, we need to go to McDonald's to get my tenders. I said
My
that the restaurant we
tenders.
were going to had really good chicken tenders. They do.
Bruh.
Besides, I didn't want to be one of those people that brings outside food to a restaurant. Well, we get to the restaurant, and Andy keeps saying that he doesn't want to eat there. He wants McDonald's. Long story short, Mary had a burger and ate it all. I ordered Andy some tenders, and he refused to try them. So I took the leftovers with us to give to Ryan. When Ryan picked them up later, Andy told him that he was hungry and hadn't eaten since before lunch. We had some snacks. Ryan asked me why I didn't feed them lunch. I said I took them out to eat, and Mary said, yep, I had a burger. Andy told him that he didn't like the tenders at that restaurant, so
Fuck
didn't
no.
eat them. And I wouldn't
I would never edit for other
so
people. Do you know how much fucking...
Ryan said he told me
I
Andy
hate
is a picky
editing.
eater, and I should have just
Like,
gotten
with a
McDonald's for him
passion.
instead of forcing him to starve.
But also, I know
shouldn't
that I'm
be
the only
trying
one
to
who's
force
ever
his
going
kid
to
to
do
eat
it
stuff.
correctly for my
On
own
one
photos
hand,
because
see
I know
Ryan's
what I
point,
want.
But at the same time,
No
you
one
can't
else can
honestly
read my
expect
mind.
people to drive
Like,
all over getting different food or have to
and
eat
I can't read
McDonald's
anyone
whenever they
else's
watch as
mind,
kids.
so I don't know how the
Am I
fuck
the
they
jerk?
want their photos
ETA,
edited or
since
whatever,
multiple
so I'm
people have said
good.
I should have made him a PB&J. I couldn't make
Zero
him a
desire
PB&J.
to do any of that
well,
shit.
I technically could. But earlier
Like,
in the day, I offered to make him PB&J for a
You
snack.
think I'm
But
fucking
he
trying
only
to do
likes
things
grape
for other
jelly,
people like
and I
that?
had strawberry. I don't have
That's
mac and
hilarious.
cheese because I'm lactose intolerant. Not the jerk. If your friend required you to feed his kids specifically only McDonald's, then he should have supplied you with McDonald's money for it. He told you what his kid liked. You were nice enough to take them out to eat somewhere that accommodated those likes, rather than making some cheap crap at home that he liked, which was nice of you. Your friend's attitude is why his son behaves that way. Not the jerk. My brother was exactly that picky of an eater when we were kids. There were only certain things he would eat, and trying to make him eat anything else.
You don't
was
need to
basically
kick
declaring
everyone
war,
who ever
as one of
asks
my
a
aunts
question
found
that I
out the
don't
hard
like,
way,
dude.
And it was a war she ultimately lost.
We've gone
The
over
thing
this.
is, though, our
Delete
mom
people
refused
who
to
are
cave when he tried to
spamming.
demand food from somewhere else. If he wanted French fries, for example, well, the restaurant we were in
If
had
I tell
fries
you
on
to
the menu.
ban
So
someone,
he'd better
or
be
if they're
happy
like a
with those,
child.
because she wasn't stopping anywhere else just for
Otherwise,
him.
I will
Or he
ban
could
them.
make a sandwich when we got home.
Because it's up to my
Ryan isn't
discretion
doing his
whether
son
or not
any
it's actually
favors
worth
by
banning
letting him
someone
act
for.
this way when
But someone just
treats him
asking
to
a
meal.
question and me
You're the
having a
jerk.
negative response
really
to that,
sounds like
that's,
this kid
that's
may
such a
have some
fucking
sort
dumb
of
reason to
disability.
ban someone. My
All 8 of my babies
Like-
have struggled with disabilities. And one thing I've learned over the years is that when your child literally needs a certain specific food, you as a parent need to get it for them, as they depend on you. There were times where I was literally attacked for not having the right chicken nuggets for my babies. But eventually I learned that it wasn't their fault. They weren't able to control themselves. It is true that 4 of them have been taken from me, but I still have my other 4. And when they need certain specific foods, Mama does whatever she needs to do to get it for them. I'm not ashamed of the things I've had to do to put Wendy's on the table. You try being a single mom with 8 kids and deadbeat fathers who refuse to support you because they think you're crazy and the courts won't do anything. Please don't take to heart everyone here acting like they know it all about parenting. Most of them probably don't even have kids themselves. I know I'm a good mom, and I always give it my all. I
So
will
you've
get my
lost 4
babies
of the
back.
kids, though?
Mark my words. Sure you will, baby mama. Sure you will. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or that chicken nuggets kid?
Yeesh.
Please let us know. How much you want to bet when that boy didn't get those nuggies? He went...
You don't like dino nuggets? What?
That
Why?
was a nice one. Am I the
Why
jerk
would
for
they
calling
not?
my mom to come
They're
pick me
so
up early at a
good.
party? A few
I
weeks
love dino
ago,
nuggets. I have some in the freezer right
17
now.
female, along with my friend, Martiza, 17 female, went to a Halloween party. We both got the jab, so we were all good there. On the way there, Martiza
jab.
informed me that she had changed her mind about leaving the party at our agreed time and was more than likely going to spend the night and just skip class the next day. She told me this as we were in her car. I was going to be the designated driver on the way back. I would have been fine with this if she hadn't waited to tell me the unilateral change of plans 5 minutes before we pulled up to the house.
Yeah, that's a shitty thing
So
to
I was
do.
already a little peeved when we went into the party. I knew I was either going to have to pay $121 Halloween rates to get home,
Halloween
or call my
rates.
mom and have her come pick me up. I chose my mom.
Oh my
One,
God.
because I knew she would be upset if I paid over $100 for a 45-minute car ride, and 2, my parents have always made it very clear to me that I can call them whenever I need them, and they won't hold it against me. Anyways,
How old are
we
you
got to
guys?
the party around 8:30, but around 9, a lot more people started coming in. Some I recognized because I do dual enrollment at my community college.
I agree.
Unfortunately, one
You're
of the
so
people that
good.
came in was someone I had French with. I tried avoiding him, but he saw me anyway.
The
and
chicken
proceeded
and the
to follow
nuggets
me
is
around
just
the
too
party.
mushy for you.
Martiza had disappeared off the face
That
of
makes
the
me
planet
feel like
2
you're cooking
minutes
them
after we
wrong.
stepped into the party,
Because,
so I was all
though,
alone. Mark is 24. I have no
I've
interest
never
in
had
him.
to be
He's
mushy.
24,
That's
which is
concerning.
pretty gross and
Maybe
old,
you're
in
not
my
getting
opinion.
real dino
I don't want to
nuggets
date
or
someone
something? I don't
7
know.
years older than me.
But that shit
I'm
be
also only
crispy.
into other girls.
It's crispy
So, yeah,
and moist.
I told him this multiple times.
That's
but
why
he
it's so
doesn't care.
good.
I get away from Mark, and around 9:30, I call my
The
mom.
vibe is
and
I'm
ask her to come
editing,
pick
like
me
it
up.
says.
I explain to her what's going on. I leave out Mark on purpose. I text Martiza and tell her that I'm leaving.
And we're
She doesn't
listening to
respond,
Mr.
so I go
Ritter.
looking for her. I spend like 40 minutes looking because I started on the top floor. But she was in the kitchen doing shots and says whatever when I tell her I'm heading out. I go wait outside, and Mark manages to find me while I'm waiting. I keep trying to walk away from him, but he continues to follow me. I see my mom's car pulling up at this point. She must have recognized my costume because she got from the end of the driveway, out the car, and pulled Mark by his collar away from me in like 2 seconds. Lo and behold, Martiza's mom is also there because Martiza had told her she was spending the night at my house. I did not know she lied. Her mom goes inside and starts yelling her name looking for her. Martiza comes out with her mom looking mortified. I'm already in the car with my mom. They leave in Martiza's car. So now, Martiza is punished and had her phone and car taken away. She can only talk to people in school. She's mad at me and blames me for snitching. She's also upset that I didn't get punished and still have my privileges.
Well, yeah, because she did the right thing, dumbass. Like,
she ignores me a lot, too. So, am I the jerk? Not the jerk.
That is so
You
weird.
100%
I've
did
never
the right
had them
thing.
be mushy.
I've been in your shoes before with a creep harassing me. It's not your fault that your friend lied to her mom and changed plans at the very last second.
Goodbye.
If
Have
this
a good
friend
dinner.
is really that upset for her getting caught in a lie in a situation where you were uncomfortable and felt unsafe, that's on her at the end of the day. Your safety takes priority over whether or not she's happy with you. I'm honestly relieved to hear that your mom came in like a tiger and ripped him away from you. Your mom sounds like an amazing person.
Go, Mama.
Not the jerk. And kudos to you for putting your safety first, and I would reconsider this friendship.
Not even just
Also,
your safety,
consider
honestly, it's
talking to someone
everyone's
about
safety.
Mark. If he follows you on or off campus, even once after this, then don't consider. Flat out tell someone promptly without second thought. He sounds like a problem that needs to be dealt with. OP. Yeah, I think I'm going to reconsider it. She lies to her mom pretty often, and then drags other people into it a lot.
Sounds like
I don't
a friend
lie
I
to
had
my
in middle
parents
school.
because we have a pretty open relationship. And I've told her I don't feel comfortable being an alibi to her mom, which is why she didn't tell me, I'm sure.
Dude, good for
And
you
I
for,
have.
like,
I had gone to college
standing
counselors
your
to talk to
ground,
them
though.
about it, but they were kind of
that's,
dismissive and told me
thing
that
that
if
most
it's
kids
only a
struggle
few
with.
words, they can't do much about it. I did tell my mom
like,
while
they
we
must
were
be
in
in
the
high
car,
school, so they
and
can
she went to
drive,
my
so they're
school
at least
and the college
16.
the next day and got on them for it.
College. Oh, wait,
I
they're in
got told
college.
he was suspended the rest of the semester. My dad has also started
British?
picking me up in case he wants to show up, but I haven't seen him in like 3 weeks, so I think we're okay there. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or Martiza? Please let us know. Martiza sounds like a trash friend, to be honest. I'd cut all
I'm sorry,
contact
he
with
doesn't
if
put
I
her to
was you.
bed?
I kicked
Make
out
him
my
put her to
brother
bed.
after he called himself the father of my
Make
child.
him put her to bed.
I know the title is a bit
He's got to
off,
do it at
but
least
let me
once
explain.
so he understands
Me,
what you have to
30
go
female,
through if he's
and my
never
wife,
putting her to
29
bed.
female.
You
Welcomed
gotta
our son
carry
to
his
this
fucking
world
weight.
a year ago. Both of our families are very accepting of us, but my wife's family has this weird obsession with passing on the family genes, which made adopting out of the question very early on. Me and my wife have always wanted to start a family, but things got difficult when my wife found out she was infertile. We knew her family would be understanding, but I'm terrified of pregnancy. From what I've been told, I'm almost physically identical to my biological mom, who passed during childbirth, so that has led me to believe I wouldn't hold a pregnancy very well.
Fair.
After a few months of brainstorming and letdown, mother-in-law suggested that we do IVF, using my eggs and my brother-in-law be the donor, and let my wife carry the baby. I was skeptical at first, but gave in because the plan hit all marks. Her family gets their genes passed on, my wife and I get to start a family, and I don't have to carry the baby. We went through extensive counseling and therapy to make sure everyone was on the same page and could handle it. The procedure was a bit expensive, but my wife's grandma happily covered the
I
cost since our
can't
baby
follow
would be
that
the first
whole
of a
web
new
right
generation
there.
in their
That was
family.
confusing.
Everything went great. My wife loved being pregnant, aside from the morning sickness.
She
We were
loved
more than
being
overjoyed
pregnant.
for
What the
one
fuck?
family in the winter. The problem was last week. We were preparing
got
for my son's
nauseous
first
from
birthday
hearing that.
when brother-in-law made a
Ew,
comment
what?
about
How do you
he
like
should get
being
a say in the
pregnant? What's wrong
planning
with
as the
you,
child's
lady?
father.
What the fuck?
I was shocked. I cringed and told him that he wasn't. He was just the donor. He looked me straight in the eye and said, "Yeah, so he's our child." I looked at my wife, whose mouth was wide open, and mother-in-law wasn't making eye contact. Before he could say anything else, I demanded that he get out of my house, and that he'd be able to come to the party when he apologized. He got angry, but left when my wife started to cry. My wife has always struggled with self-esteem, and her infertility really took a toll on her. For months, I had to constantly reassure her that she is an amazing mother, and that she wasn't wrong for her lifestyle. Sister-in-law called me later that day and called me
Lifestyle
names.
being
I
gay
argued that
or
brother-in-law
being
had
infertile?
no
Because
right
being
saying
infertile is
any
not
of
really
that,
a
but
lifestyle, I
sister-in-law
would
just
have to
kept
say.
yelling. Me and my wife have cut all contact with her family. It's turned into something bigger than it needs to be, but I refuse to let someone call my family incomplete again. Call me dramatic, but I grew up with family in and out, and never knowing who was
really dramatic.
real family. And I refuse to
Enough
let that
for
same
me,
thing happen
personally.
to my son. Brother-in-law signed away his rights and verbally agreed multiple times that he's just an uncle. He's never had a problem until now, and it's kind of out of the blue.
I wonder what
If he was starting to feel more of a connection to my son, then I'd understand if he calmly spoke to my wife and I, instead of staking claim. I've reached out to brother-in-law a few times looking for a reason, but he has just thrown insults to my wife and I. My wife is devastated after losing contact, but neither of us want to forgive brother-in-law.
The fact that he doesn't just automatically understand that he has to be quiet while trying to put a baby to bed is honestly very concerning, Michelle, and I would get your asses into therapy if you can. Like, do some couples counseling.
Mother-in-law steps out when
Seriously,
she senses any conflict. That's why she wasn't making any contact.
It sounds to me like he's like letting you do all of the work with that, and like if he wants to be involved in his child's life at all, like he needs to actually help raise her, and part of that is helping put her to bed at night, clean the diapers, staying quiet so you can put her to sleep when you're doing it. Helping in the middle of the night when she wakes y'all up.
I'm inclined to believe that mother-in-law has already had at least one conversation about this with your brother-in-law because she stayed silent. Now sister-in-law is going to drag you too? I cannot stress this enough. I hope you have your ducks in a row from a legal perspective, because this sounds like a huge dumpster fire. I'm really sorry that you're both facing this situation, however. I hope you find comfort in knowing that you're facing it together. Not the jerk. What an absolutely ridiculous and cruel thing to say. Your child will not have a father, but two wonderful moms, and that's okay. He doesn't get to be involved as
no,
a
Ruben, I would hate
he
being
was a
pregnant
donor.
5,100 times
He can
more.
be an uncle, but not a dad until he has his own kids. Reply. Depending on the state, she might lose. He's a donor, and he can take action. In another post on here, I remember a guy who happened to be a donor. Eventually, in the end, he wanted to be part of the kid's life. Took them to court, won. He pays support and gets 50% custody. He's rich, got super lawyers. They were poor and got a regular one. We just drove 5 hours to get here. If there is any one thing that has consistently baffled me,
I'm giving myself a time limit. We're doing 30 more minutes, and then I'm gonna go and
or even 15 hours before
finish this while eating food and
when I tell them I don't have a room ready for them yet.
In bed,
Case in point, I get a phone call at 1:45 from a gentleman who has a reservation for tonight. He wants to see if an early check-in is possible, ideally in the next hour. I ask for his name, pull up his reservation, and see that he has booked a suite with 2 double beds, a room type that we will only have one of tonight. Here I should mention a few things. Our check-in time is 4 p.m. Our checkout time is noon. We were completely sold out last night. We had 2 large groups in-house who were all due out today, one for a wedding and one for a family reunion. At the time I received the call about the early check-in, none of these rooms, including the sole double queen suite, has checked out yet. They were in it for the long haul. I informed the gentleman on the phone of all these circumstances and tell him that while I can still get him in earlier than 4, the earliest will probably be around 2. He says that's fine, and you'll see me in a couple hours. All good, right? I don't know what the heck happened in this guy's brain between the
Jay
time
Peterman, that is a myth.
and the time he showed up at the desk 45 minutes
makes
later.
some women forget it,
Hello,
but more
welcome.
importantly,
How
just
can I help you
time
today?
and the fact that they wanted to be
I called about
pregnant
an early
and have a
check-in
child
while
makes
ago.
them forget
Not
it.
sure who I talked to,
I
but the
promise you,
reservation is under my
people
name.
who
Me, a bit confused.
didn't want to be pregnant
Yeah.
and don't want to
That
have
was
a
me you
kid,
spoke with earlier. But as I said on the phone, we don't have any rooms yet, and probably won't.
Yeah, but that was 45 minutes ago. I figured you'd have one ready by now.
Me, still a bit confused. Yes, sir. But as I said on the phone, we only have one of the room type you reserved available for the night, and that room was still occupied at the time you called. Guy.
Well, we left our city at 7 a.m. and just got off the road. My kids have been stuck in the car for 5.5 hours.
Me. I understand. But as I said on the phone, my best estimate for when that room will be ready is 2 p.m.
You don't have any rooms ready?
Me. The only rooms I have ready are king standards, and I don't...
That won't work. I've got my wife and 3 kids with me. Can you just call me when the room is ready?
Me. Of course, sir. Goodness gracious. I have to point out that the guy wasn't being too rude, and I can understand that he's probably worn out from a 5-hour road trip with 3 kids. But why the heck would you just show up an hour and a half earlier than when you were told your room would be ready?
No.
I don't understand why people think they can play it so fast and loose with check-in times. If you had a reservation at a restaurant, would you show up 3 hours early and expect to get seated? If you had a doctor's appointment at 3:45, are you going to show up at 1 and act incredulous when the receptionist tells you to have a seat? If you get to the airport 5 hours early, do you expect the plane to take off? I just don't understand why this dude had to get on the road at 7 a.m. when he knew how long the drive would take and obviously knew what time check-in was. Entitled Aunt tried to sue me for my inheritance when I was a kid. Alright, since so many have asked to read about the first time my entitled aunt, Auntie Scrooge, tried to get my inheritance, I'm posting it. I remind everyone this is entirely from memory and may not be verbatim, but I will do my best to try to recount the matter as best I can. At this time, I was 9 years old, and not entirely aware of everything going on, but a strange man had recently introduced himself to my mom, and they have had several long talks by this time, and have recently included me in some of them. Something about a large sum of money I would be receiving at 18 years old, and being held in something called a trust to protect it from those who would try to take it without having the right to do so, and to never, ever sign any papers without him being in the room concerning them. Now, this man had never been anything but nice to me, and had always had money he gives to me when he comes to the house, from the inheritance fund, and always give it to my mother first. From that, I got a daily allowance. I had to earn it, as I later found out it was to teach me the value of money and why it is so important. This also is just a little over a year since my father passed away. Now, having had my 9th birthday a month ago, my entitled aunt decided it was time to try to get her hands on my inheritance. Her brother's money, believing it was hers and hers alone, apparently. She showed up on one of her weekend visits with some papers she wanted my mother and me to sign, and was quite insistent.
So many questions about this story. What the hell?
Told her no, not without that man, the attorney present, so he could read the form she wanted us to sign first. Auntie Scrooge blew up at my mother and demanded we sign the papers immediately. My mother stood her ground and eventually threw them out. A few days later, that man came to the house, and I was made to go to my room and play with my toys while they talked. Later, my mom set me down and told me my aunt was trying to take something from us that Daddy had left for me, and there was no way she was going to let that happen and to not sign any paper she might try to get me to sign without her and the man in the room with me, and to let him read the papers first, no matter how much she yells and threatens me with anything.
Obviously, he's like a lawyer,
a few days
but
later,
unlike, what
my
if he's
aunt
not?
showed up at school with another strange man. Even at that age, I could tell he was a bad man. He even felt wrong. She wanted me to write my name on a line of paper she brought with her. I told her, Mommy told me not to write my name on anything you want me to, Auntie, without Mommy and that man being there. She said, Honey, Auntie really needs this, so you have to sign it for me. I yelled no and ran to my teacher, and told my teacher, who immediately escorted me to the principal's office and called my mother. My aunt came storming into the office, demanding to see me, and was rebuffed and told to wait until my mother got there. A few minutes later, my mom came storming in, full Mama Bear mode, and let my aunt have it, with absolutely no filter, and made it clear she was to come nowhere near her son again without having an attorney present. That's when my aunt's entitlement came out in full, and she started yelling that the money was hers by right, and she was going to sue us over it and get it one way or another, then stormed out. It was a few days after that, we received a letter that set my mother to swearing. Small timeline correction there. It was a few days after that we received the letter that really set my mom off. A little after a month later, my mother made me dress in something nice, and we went to a big building that the man with us called a courthouse. So after a wait, we went into this large room with lots of seats in it and sat at a table in the front. A few minutes later, my aunt came in with another man and sat at another table.
Is it a restraining order? Are you getting a restraining order?
In the room with us was the teacher and the principal and a few other people. Then another man came in. We all stood for a moment, and the man called the court to session and sat at the raised seat in front and banged a wooden hammer on his desk.
I'm so confused.
I'll dispense with some of the irrelevant here. There was a lot of yelling from my aunt, resulting in the judge banging his gavel a few times and threatening my aunt with something he called contempt of court to settle her down. That's when the thing that sank my aunt's case was revealed. The man with us, our attorney, stood and said, "The terms of the will are detailed clearly and will be followed to the letter, including the clear instructions that should anyone attempt to dispute the terms of the will, that person or person's claim to any and all parts of the will are to be immediately declared null and void, and they immediately lose any and all claim to the will permanently." My aunt started screaming about that and demanded she be given
term to have in your will.
My aunt was literally pulling, kicking, and screaming out of the courtroom, and we didn't hear from her for 2 weeks after that.
This is such a weird story.
After that, my mom did manage to get something called a restraining order against my aunt, so we never had to talk to her again.
I like how they're
6
writing
months
this
later,
as if they're
she tried
still
to submit
9.
forged documents to get the money,
Why?
but failed, as they were immediately shown to be fake. Another story for another time. The next time I had to talk with her was after my 18th birthday. But I'll post that as another story when I have the time.
Okay, can you write it like you're not
sprayed a
that
Karen.
age
This happened a few months ago, but I've been reluctant to post about it until I was sure that everything was going to be okay, at least for me. We'll start with a man who has decided to leave his wife. He's already warned us that she might call or stop by, and that he's not here if she asks. 2 a.m. rolls around, and I get a phone call. "Lady, I need you to connect me to my husband."
She's not here if he asks.
Me. "I'm sorry, we don't have anyone staying here by that name." "Lady, BS. I'm in the parking lot and see his car. I'm coming in." She hangs up. Me. "Oh boy, here we go." Lady comes in. "Tell me what room he's in." Me. "Sorry, but I'm not going to do that. You need to leave the property now." "If you don't tell me, I'll knock on every single door until I find him." Me.
Ma'am.
"I'd really appreciate if you didn't do that. If you don't leave right
now,
harass
our
I'm going to call the
customers.
police." "Forget you, jerk." She reaches over the desk to try to hit me. I pull out my pepper spray and spray it in her face. She starts rubbing her eyes and crying.
Bruh.
"Oh my god, I'm calling the police."
Do it.
"Go ahead, I'm calling them too. You tried to assault me." "Yeah, but you did assault me. You sprayed me in the eyes." She sits down on the floor and continues crying while rubbing her eyes.
So
Me,
fucking sleepy,
ignoring her
man.
and calling the police. "Yeah, I need someone to get down here. I just pepper sprayed a lady for trying to assault me." Dispatcher sends the police. So I call my manager.
Who's this
because
motherfucker in
obviously
chat
this is
having a
something he needs to
conversation
be
with
aware of.
themselves?
I
Also,
tell him
by
what
the way.
happened, and he says, "You did what?" I tell him again, and he says he'll be right there. I give the lady some water and a face cloth so she can rinse her eyes. I'm not a complete monster. Manager shows up first. He lives less than 2 miles away, and asks me what happened. I explain to him a third time, and he looks at the woman, still sitting on the floor crying, and back at me. Police walk in moments later and ask what happened. So I tell them my version, and she tells them hers, which was that she politely asked for her husband's room number, and I pepper sprayed her for no reason.
Bullied.
Manager runs to the back with an officer and pulls up our cameras, which includes audio. Police see that my side is what really happened and ask if I want to press charges. I say no, since she didn't actually hit me, but that I do want her off the property immediately. She starts yelling that she wants to press charges because I pepper sprayed her.
100%.
One of the officers tells her that
Very
it's perfectly
real.
legal in our state to pepper spray someone in self-defense,
stretch my
and she quickly
hands
shuts
since
up
that's
about it.
getting-
One of the officers escorts her outside, and she doesn't come back. The other officer talks to my manager for
Don't
a few
do
more
drugs,
minutes,
okay?
then comes back and tells me that he doesn't
They're bad
think that
for
she'll
you.
come back, but if she does, to call them again. My manager shakes his head and says this is the first time he's ever had an employee pepper spray a guest.
Unless
I remind
not
him
doing
that
them is
she
worse
wasn't
for
a
you.
guest, and he starts laughing, despite how irritated he had previously been, and tells me that we still need to file an incident report so we have a paper trail in case anything did happen. We haven't heard from her since, so I'm pretty sure it's safe to say she won't be attempting to press charges for it. Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video. Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.
Fuck, I'm so tight. I worked out earlier and I didn't stretch long enough afterwards.
Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parent Stories. Today we have a very special episode for you. A compilation of some of the greatest entitled parent stories we read over the past year. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a few hours of the most entitled parents you've ever heard of. And by the way, Karen assured me that if this video gets 1,000 likes, she won't try to speak to anyone's manager for an entire
I don't like vapes
week.
because they just don't work as well.
Smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on
my tolerance be
notifications for
high
new
and
stories
shit
from Reddit every single day. And become an official member of the Re-Army today, and I'll give you a shout out in an upcoming video.
What photo did I do last?
It's 10 a.m. and you won't sell me a McChicken because lunch starts at 11? I work at a pretty well-known fast food establishment, and we get all kinds of entitled people all the time.
You can't see them, right?
This was the most memorable. So at the place I work, we only sell breakfast items until 11. This lady pulls
I know, right?
at around 10:30.
Cigarettes are so much worse too. That or they just love drinking alcohol, which is another thing that, at least for me, is just so much worse.
Me. Sorry, unfortunately, we don't start serving lunch until 11 today. Is there anything else I can get for you?
Like, I don't drink.
Yeah, a McChicken. It's only 30 minutes. You can just make it for me. Me. I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed to sell any lunch items until 11 exactly. We do have breakfast items with chicken in it, if you'd like. Karen. See? You just told me you had chicken. Now make me the sandwich. Me. Unfortunately, I cannot do that. She then drives up to the last window and demands to speak to my manager. So I go get her so she can just tell her the exact same thing. Karen. This jerk won't let me have my McChicken, and I'm in a hurry. So if you could please,
this is
manager,
a McDonald's.
Excuse me, but we don't start lunch till 11, and I'm not going to pull out lunch items early just for you. So if you're not going to order, please pull through. Thank you. That's it. That's all she says and walks away. She never argues with customers.
Hell yeah,
just
manager.
tells them how it is.
Fucking get
I then
'em.
ask her if she'd like anything else, and she rolls her eyes. Yeah,
dude, Doug, same. Oh my god, the smell.
So
I agree.
manager,
I like the
and
smell of
she's visibly
cigarettes. I don't know what the
irritated.
fuck's wrong
She
with
goes
me.
back to the window and tells her if she didn't
It's a problem.
move,
Like,
she'd
I
be
really
forced
wish I
to call
didn't
the
like the smell
police.
of cigarettes,
This
but
is where things go south. You can't do that. I'm a paying customer. I have a right to be here. Get me my darn food now. My manager doesn't say anything, just walks away.
But
She then begins
I've literally
honking and continues to yell.
I think
She
I tried
grabs the
smoking
phone
tobacco
and
one
walks back to
time,
the window so
and
the
it just
lady
made me
can see.
sick as
She
fuck,
dials 3
and gave me like a
random
headache,
numbers
and
pretends to
then
call the police. Karen,
it made my
you're
asthma
lying. You
super
wouldn't
bad.
do that to a
'Cause,
paying customer.
duh.
My manager ignores her.
Never
and
again,
acts like they
bitch.
picked up the phone. Manager. Yes, there's a lady in the drive-thru and she's
Unless I
harassing my
accidentally buy a
employees.
fucking
And that was all it
joint
took
that's
for
been
this lady to speed
infused, and
off.
then, you know,
I
can't
will never
waste
get why
it.
people get so mad over food. Speaking of food, what's your favorite fast food place? Please leave a comment
Probably
right
McDonald's
now,
or
letting me
Taco
know.
Bell. Or
Next we've
Wendy's.
got
Those are the
Karen
top 3.
recognizes me from a job I stopped working at over a year ago. One day after work, I stopped by the local pet superstore where all the pets go in order to get some more litter for my 2 cats. This particular location has a
The
station
doggies want
where you
in,
can refill your own
but
jug
I'm not
with the
letting
store
them
brand
in.
litter at a discount if you buy one of their containers first. I have Maine Coon mixes, so I buy in bulk when I can,
It's like
and had
Katie.
3 empty jugs in my cart and a
Well, I
4th
guess
in my
she just has a
hand
Maine
that I
Coon,
was
but-
refilling with litter. It's at this point that I hear a woman clear
Aw,
her
thank
throat.
you, dickhead.
It was
Wait,
cold
let me bless
season,
up.
so a
Hold
lot
on,
of
let me
people were
just-
doing that.
Yeah, finish
And
this one.
became vaguely aware
Save.
of an older
Bless
woman
up!
getting
Thank you,
closer to me.
dickhead.
I just moved closer to the bin so she could pass behind me if she needed to. Finish up with the first jug and move on to the second. This was apparently the wrong thing to do, as the woman huffs at me. Where are the poop scoops?
That's
I
so
stop what I'm
funny.
doing
Yep.
and glance around,
Yeah, I didn't throw up
thinking that
because
maybe she had
I'm
spoken
pretty
to
good
an
at
employee that was stocking shelves or
avoiding that
But
until
no,
it's really
she's
bad. But
scowling right at me. It was early in the afternoon, in the middle of the week, so there weren't many employees.
that's what
in the
I'm
store
saying. You
yet.
can't waste
Whatever,
it.
no big deal. I have a vague idea of where things are
Dude, don't
since
say
they
fish and chips.
remodeled
I
the
don't
store.
fish and chips.
I take a second to glance down the aisle I'm standing next to and am relieved to see litter boxes. I reflexively give her a customer service
fish
smile
and chips.
and
I
gesture
don't
down
have
the aisle. They're at the
You
end
know
of
what's
this
an
aisle, against the
underrated
wall.
fucking
Karen
restaurant
doesn't bother to
that's like
think
usually
as
only
she
in
moves
malls and
closer to
shit?
the aisle
Fucking
and looks down
Ivers.
before huffing again.
Why is it
Those
so
ones
good,
are too
actually?
small. I need a big one. I realize
I
at
want
this
to find an
point,
Ivers.
she means the dog shovel scoop things. I shrug and move on to my third litter container.
We'll be able to make it. 10 more minutes. We got this. We got
so
this.
I don't know where the dog stuff is now that they remodeled the store. You should probably ask an employee. But you're an employee. I see you here all the time.
You're an employee.
I should probably point out that I work in an office and was dressed in black trousers, heels, and a green patterned blouse with a small purse hanging off the shoulder facing Karen. The employees here wear sneakers, jeans, and either a red or blue t-shirt with the company name and logo in big white letters on the front and back of the t-shirt. I have 2 large cats, so they go through litter pretty fast, so I'm here on an almost weekly basis, but I don't work here. That's a lie. You gave my dog a bath, and I've seen you on the registers. It's at this point I'm a little shocked. I had worked in the grooming salon of this particular store for a couple of months, but that was well over a year ago. I'm sorry, I should clarify. I haven't worked for this company in over a year. They've remodeled the store.
You drank a bottle of CBD and didn't notice anything? I mean, yeah, obviously it doesn't have any THC in it.
The store when I worked here, but that area is now where they have the dog food. I finally see an employee approaching, probably drawn to Karen's steadily rising voice, and point him out to Karen, who promptly stomps over to him to complain. I had finished refilling my jugs, so I pushed my cart towards the registers, only catching part of Karen's complaints about my poor customer service before I tuned the rest out. Funny thing is, I would have helped her find where it had been moved to if she hadn't started talking to me like I was beneath her. Just because you're old, it doesn't give you the right to toss basic manners to the dogs.
Karen's.
Are you team dogs or team cats?
Please leave a comment. Neither. I like both, okay? The fuck?
Next
I'm a centrist.
Oh, your name's not Karen? Not my problem. So for background, I grew up in the hospitality industry with my parents, who, to those behind the scenes, shared the power of a general manager authority. Although my dad was the one who holds that position, has for over 10 years now. I'm talking a total power couple, even though, yes, they had and still have their arguments, just like any other couple. With my dad handling the money, numbers, etc., essentially the business side, and my mother handling the social aspect, or the employees/guests. My mother is known widely throughout the hotel for no reason, or if you don't have a reason for not working, that I'm not taking your crap. You'd be surprised how often housekeepers just refuse to show up and work. But my father, on the other hand, is seen as the much more reasonable one, to a point at least. I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen him livid enough to the point of yelling where the hotel is concerned. Seeing as some of my earliest memories of the hotel rooms, front desks, and the general drama that happens behind the scenes, you'd think I'd be immune, or at least tolerant to crap. But that's another story for another day.
This is what you guys don't see whenever I'm editing. It's just me suffering like this the whole time,
and running
crying.
errands for whichever of my parents were on shift. But I never actually got paid the same as the other employees. By that, I mean my parents paid me from their own pay, which is fine.
Lagging.
I hardly did the same amount of work they did.
I'm like moving too fast for my phone. It just likes to lag on me.
Therefore, I wasn't technically an employee.
Oh, it's only in Washington? Really? Dang.
That will come to play out in my favor.
You guys should come to Washington and have it.
I also have to mention that my parents have managed more than one hotel in my lifetime.
They're so
and for the
good,
past
bro.
several years, the common thing is for them
you
to
know what? That's
live in
probably
a
why
hotel
it's so
they
good,
manage,
is because they
given it's
probably
in a
get all their
completely
fucking
different
fish
state
from
than their
like
house.
Pikes
My
or
house
something.
now.
I bet you
So
anything.
they have their own
Bet you
room.
anything they
I
locally
can access it
source
when
the
I'm
fish,
visiting,
and that's why
because
it's
when
so
I'm there,
fucking
I
yummy.
pitch in and help out, which commonly requires me to have a master key. Yes, one that
so
opens
good.
all the doors. They really don't look that much different from
Yeah,
the
you
gift
should also
keys,
come here for
except for the
Franz
markings,
chocolate.
or when the housekeepers wear them on lanyards, and the regular guest
That and the
keys
original
don't work
Starbucks.
afternoon, which is the time you must be checked out, or you'll be charged for another
Which
day.
has the old logo
One
and
more
stuff
piece to
still, which is
remember.
cool.
There are 5 floors
But
in
don't
total,
think about
but
going inside, it's a
technically,
nightmare.
The second floor is where guests can use a side
And not
door
worth
to
it,
access the
honestly.
parking lot and their rooms without going all the way from the lobby. It requires an active key card to work from outside. Another piece. I don't tell anyone else this, and typically only a few staff members are aware of who I am anyways, the manager's daughter. So it's not really obvious. On my last visit, I was given a master key the day after I got there and was told they'd call me if they needed my help. I'm typically an introvert and stay in my room playing video games and reading. sometimes wandering out to spend time with my parents, wearing jeans and a graphic
Nice.
tank
You should
top
definitely
and
do
flannel.
it.
Nothing like what the clerks or employees
Go to
should wear.
Ivers.
I
They
left
probably
my
have
room with
one
a book hand, my
in
phone and master
C-Tap.
key in my pockets,
Maybe.
but you could really only see the
I
outline
know
of
they've
my
got
phone.
some around
Another
here,
piece to come
fucking
into play.
somewhere.
This is where the background
In
truly
Seattle,
ends
that
and the
is.
story begins. I was going to head down to the lobby with my book and sit on the couches to read, to hang out, when my mother, on her shift, she's a bookworm too, so we tend to read in silence together. When as soon as my door closed, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and I could feel a disturbance in the force.
Dude, I'm dying to go to
Lo
the
and
fucking
behold,
bookstore
from
for
behind
some
me,
reason.
I
I
hear the
really want to go to the
sound
bookstore.
of
I
a
used to go to the
wild
bookstore all
Karen.
the time and just like read the backs of books. That's like one of my
first
favorite
thought
things to
was,
do.
oh boy.
And
My second
I
thought
haven't
was,
done it in
how
forever because
fast can I annoy her?
and shit.
Yeah, I'm an introvert, but that doesn't
it.
mean I am uncomfortable with drama or people. I just prefer to hibernate in the comfort of my living space. Big difference. In fact,
That's
on
fair.
occasion, when confronted with, well, confrontation, I find I enjoy myself
Not too
when
much.
I annoy them.
Not too
I
much.
mean, I didn't ask for you to bother me, so that's your problem. I digress. This lady is what I classify as your stereotypical Karen. Seems put together on the outside, but on the inside is just a storm of entitlement and lack of empathy. I won't describe what she looks like, because then people from the hotel would know exactly who she is. Anyways, I turned to face her, where I had just been about to step away from my room door, replying with, "You're excused," which I know for a fact tends to tick people off. But to be fair, it's what one is supposed to say at one's dinner table in response. Yeah, we're not at a dinner table, but still. You need to help me, right now. My third thought is, now where have I heard that one before? Oh, right, this is Karen. No, I don't. I'm just trying to go to the lobby. Oh, no, you're not. You're going to help me. Okay,
The thing
this
on
is
my
where
phone?
I realized that I had two major options.
The phone case?
A, get mad and
It's
lower myself to her level.
my wallet,
Or B,
phone,
ride
case,
this out to
wallet.
the perfect I don't
They
work
sell
your
them on
lady moment.
Amazon.
While option
They come
A
in
was
black.
tempting, I decided that I could hold off
They're
on reading
nice.
for
I
now.
like it because it's easy to
Fine.
hold on
What do you
to.
need help with?
But the thing that I'm
you
doing
need
on
to
my
start
phone is
doing your
editing
job and bring my bags
my
out
news.
to my car.
So
Whoa, hold up. The hotel employees do not do that. We weren't that big of a building or business to warrant bellboys, and we had luggage carts and elevators for that particular reason. As far as I know, guests tended to understand that. Until now. Fine. You know what? I'll go along with it. So I head with Karen to her room, which was 4 doors down from mine, and she shoves this large suitcase. I'm talking
the
everything but the
bubbles.
kitchen
You've
sink large
convinced Daddy
into
to
my
let you in.
hands
Hello.
and carries this tiny bag
Hi,
instead.
monsters.
The suitcase does have a handle, but when I reach for
Tiny
it,
monsters.
Karen snaps at me.
You are
No, I
puppies.
said to carry it
Hi,
out.
yours is a cute
No,
baby.
you
I love
didn't.
you very much.
Karen gaped
You're
at me
so
for a
cute.
moment
I
before
love you
replying
back.
with,
I love
"Yes,
you
I
back.
did. And do your job, and do not talk back to me. I'm a
You too,
guest."
Bubbles. I love you too.
So Karen is striding
I love
ahead
you
of
too,
me by a
Bubbles.
few paces, while I am somewhat struggling to carry this large suitcase. And by the time I get to the elevator, Karen is already
Okay, it's
standing beside me,
58, so I'm gonna
where I set
stop
the bag
editing
down
for
a moment to
right
catch
now.
my breath, because that was pretty much my exercise
Okay.
for the week.
Let's see. How many did I
Hurry up,
do?
or you're fired. Karen hops into the elevator, and by the time I'm able to pick up her suitcase, she's already heading down. So on the stairs, I simply push her suitcase down each flight, hoping that I'm already smashing a few breakables in the process. Yes, I was petty. Don't care. Karen is already out the side door by the time I reach the bottom with her suitcase. She didn't even notice that it had hit the bottom somewhat loudly. Before I pick it up, I check the time on my phone. 1:36 p.m. Karen was surely about to be charged for another day, or had already been. She hadn't been out of her room long enough to have met the 12 noon deadline, obviously. Therefore, her card would not work. Ah, karma. You show up just when I need you. So I walk over to the door with her suitcase in hand and open it, nearly throwing it out the door, and Karen screeches when I do. You can't do
110.
that. I'm going to have your job for that. You useless
Alright,
jerk.
that seems like I can do
So,
it tonight.
not really mad. I stare at Karen, seeing her rage beginning to rise.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Pops will enjoy that. Oh,
You can't really
Pops!
take what I
Child,
don't
love you,
have to
Pops.
begin with.
Come.
What? What do you mean?
Meals.
I take a small
Meals.
step back from the door,
Come on,
but I
buddy.
keep my body kind of leaned forward
Meals.
with my eyes locked on hers,
Meals.
so she doesn't notice the moment. I would have called her lady in this next part if she hadn't yelled at me and called me names and useless.
Hey,
I don't work here, Sharon. Thanks for staying. I say in a falsely cheery voice before I slam the door shut with all my might. The electronic
we're like a third of the way done.
Her outside. Did I forget to mention that she still had things in her room? Well, yeah.
Took 2 hours to do a third of it. 4 more hours.
The rude bellboy.
8,
I'm a girl
9,
and present
10,
as one,
11,
locking
12.
her out. My mother tried to explain to her that since
12
she wasn't checked
o'clock-ish?
out or out
Alright, so I'll have
12,
this up
then she would
maybe
be charged
tonight if
for
I finish
another
it, but I'll
day,
probably
and
post
her
it
key card
tomorrow.
was only programmed for the
morning.
night she had paid for. Oh,
Unless
that
I'm
we
just
don't
not
have
high
burglaries.
once I've finished, because
Karen
I'm all
eventually
happy
got
and
her
shit.
stuff, but still had to pay. And didn't get her security deposit back since she had
So
apparently
yeah,
damaged the door
video
frame to
up
her
tomorrow.
All in all,
Hopefully this will be up
bellboy,
tonight.
1,
If not, it'll
and
be up
wild
tomorrow.
Karen, 0.
And yeah, I will
Next
see
we've
you
got
guys next
Boss
week.
blocks my
I don't know what we're
promotion.
doing Monday,
I block his job.
but
For background,
there's
I work
been
in
some
a very
requests
competitive
for
part of the
some
service industry.
Christmas
It's a
caroling.
large enough
So
community,
potentially
but at
that.
the same time, it's
I'll put
small
up a
enough where
poll
someone
this weekend,
somewhere in the industry knows
and you guys can vote
so
on
it's
it if you
important to
remember.
not burn bridges, as one day
So,
you may find
yeah.
yourself in a
All right.
disadvantageous position. I was in my position for a good 3 years as middle manager.
How do I edit it?
No
I
call-outs,
crop it,
never late. Always stayed after
and
to
then
help my
I
team out.
make
Worked
sure
on
the lighting
projects
is
that belonged to
balanced
my
and
bosses,
stuff,
etc.
and then I
Except for one day,
edit
which I
out
had gotten in a car accident. I was working
massive
the night shift and
items
it was
because I
raining.
look
This is
tired.
important later in the story, and was unable to go into work as my
But
car
yeah.
was undrivable, and I had to wait for a tow truck. Insurance and trying to find a ride late at night
Wish me
/
luck.
early morning was very difficult. At the time,
Wait,
my
I guess I
director
should.
had
Sorry, Mr. Redder. Thank you, Mr. Redder, for keeping us entertained at this entire time, though. It was very, 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 very poggers of that to be a thing. Okay, so next week, I forget what we're doing next week. We'll find out on Monday, honestly. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I appreciate you keeping me company while I edited this. Sorry we couldn't do Japanese tonight. I'll put that up on the poll for Monday in case you guys wanted a lesson really bad. Otherwise, we will pick that up next week. More Christmas content next week. More of the same next week. Yeah, busy month. But yeah, all right. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you if you liked the video. Thank you if you watched the whole time. Thank you if you donated. Thank you if you joined. Thank you if you Thank you if you subscribed. Thank you if you helped mod. Thank you for putting up with me being cranky because I have to fucking edit and I hate editing, and so I'm always cranky when I edit. So thank you for that. Okay. All right, guys. I will see you next time. I hope you have a really good night, and I hope you have an even better weekend. Okay? All right. Do something fun. Bye.